Welcome to Games Overboard. I'm PJ.
I'm Dan.
I'm Angie.
I'm Tom.
All right.
Yay!
We are 1 week away from Seismic.
Yay!
Yay!
And by the time everyone's listening to this, the interview, our third interview with Jason Blake, will have been out for 2 days. So that's exciting.
2 days?
2 days.
Wow!
Oh boy.
What?
Just can't get...
Why do we keep having him back?
I know, right?
I feel like we should just do this ourselves.
Alright, you can drive yourself.
I have a car.
I know you do.
I have car. So yeah, we haven't actually had the interview yet.
Not yet.
It's happening in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, about 2 hours.
About to it.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah,
So we gotta make this snappy so we can.
that's
actually
right.
set
So we
shit
can get
up.
everything all set up. So we played Dead Men Tell No Tales. What'd you think?
It was a riveting pirate experience.
Is that sarcasm?
It's
No, actually, it was fun.
it's cute. It's definitely hard, but we didn't play on the easiest mode, or difficulty level, I should say. So I would definitely want to give it a try again, but on easy.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's the same rules. It's just how many loot treasures you need to get off the
We
ship.
still
to win.
didn't even get anywhere
Yeah.
near that.
Yeah, we got a big fat what, 0?
One.
No, we got one.
I got one off the ship. I got some whiskey there.
Was it whiskey or is it rum?
Rum. Yeah.
It's
Something.
It's interesting because the mechanics feel like a mix of Clank and Vast almost. Like the tile laying and the way the ship is fighting you is a little bit like Vast without the actual player controlling it. And the loot grabbing, it kind of reminds me of Clank, how you have to get in, grab the stuff, and get back out again.
Mhm. Yeah. And like a little bit of Pandemic mixed in too with the
Oh, the dice exploding.
the dice exploding. So yeah, this is a cooperative game. The theme of the game is you are pirates. You have bombarded a ship that you like incapacitated it basically, and now you've boarded the ship and it is on fire and you need to get as much loot as you can and get off of the ship before it burns and sinks.
But your pirate crew isn't very smart because you set the ship on fire first, which maybe we should have done after we got the loot. But
Yeah, right.
you know.
Yeah.
How
should've
else were
thought
we going to
that
get
through.
them to, surrender?
Well, they haven't surrendered because they're all staying by their treasure until they die, apparently.
Okay, well, you got to understand, most of these are already dead. They're skeletons.
Undead pirate ship.
I'm
That's right.
dead right now. It looks like I fell over.
Yeah.
Maybe I was drunk.
Yeah. Too much rum.
I do like rum.
So I just think it's funny that everybody got this, great piece of equipment at the start of the game, and I got a bucket.
I got a sword that I completely forgot about that I could have used.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I forgot I had my compass. It's okay.
I had my dagger. I used it a couple times, but there weren't a whole lot.
my dagger.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because they're deckhands, these little wooden skeleton faces that come out.
Those are actually really cool.
Yeah,
They are
and,
really
and they
cool.
get in your way of doing things. So, and if all of the deckhands
Like
ever,
a deckhand is supposed to. Get
Yeah.
in the way.
and if all of the deckhand tokens ever get onto the ship, you lose because you're overwhelmed. So, my dagger would let me get rid of a deckhand for free, which was nice.
Yeah, and doing these kinds of actions takes an action turn.
Doing these
Token.
kind of actions takes an action.
Yeah, shut up, I know. It's like,
Just
allow
curious.
myself to introduce
Myself.
myself. But I did find my bucket very useful.
Yeah, you were so pissed about getting
I
the
was.
bucket.
I wanted a sword or something.
Bucket pulled through.
But
in
the
the
bucket
end.
pulled through. I used this more than anything. I was putting out fires, literally.
But yeah, this game is tough.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah, because we only had, 2 turns? 3?
Yeah, we
I
took,
didn't even get a third turn.
Yeah, so there are dice that represent fire. There are red ones and yellow ones. The color doesn't really matter. It's just to indicate which ones ignite on certain turns,
Right.
based on these cards. And if the die ever reaches 6, a room explodes, and you flip the room upside down, and it's impassable. But also, when it explodes, just like an outbreak in Pandemic, it affects all the adjacent rooms. They all go up by 1, and that could trigger another explosion. And some of them have powder kegs where they can ignite less than 6. And
right, they can ignite based on the number that's
on the powder keg.
Yeah. So if you have a room that's supposed to ignite at like 2 and the powder keg goes off at 3, all it needs is to jump 1 and that room is gone.
Yeah.
You should have had the blanket. You could have got it down by 2. It's much more useful.
Well, I'm not the one who chose it, so Sorry, it sounds like dying giraffe now.
So yeah, there's only one way to win the game and many ways to lose it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's and as
So
we've said
ways.
before, that's a lot of the cooperative games.
That's how, all co-op games are, they're designed to be difficult because why would you play a game if you win every time? Like, it would just be boring.
That's true. Unless you really, really, really like to win.
I guess.
Oh.
We lost because the 2 rooms that detonated were the only 2 rooms we had to get from one part of the ship to the other, so we could not escape the ship.
Yep, and that's one of the game breakers. If you can't go through, you're done. So we basically cut the ship in half.
Oh, man.
It's like the Titanic.
We probably should have made the connecting I'm going to be geeky here. The connection graph of the nodes of the network kind of more densely interconnected.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Just had more doors facing each other.
Yeah.
Well,
much simpler way to put
our
it.
original thought process was, if this blows up, who cares? We don't need to get to that. But we cut ourselves off.
Yeah.
Should have paid a little bit more attention to the doors.
Yeah, we should have had a good plan, like today's Dark Story.
Oh no.
Carrie's here. How are we not going to figure it out?
I have to go get her.
After careful planning, 5 men break into a house and take thousands of dollars in cash. The owner of the house is the only person arrested.
Was he a drug dealer?
It doesn't say.
Were they?
I see that coy smile.
Were they DEA agents executing a raid?
No.
I'm gonna say.
Were they law enforcement of some sort?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, that rules out what I was gonna say. I thought that maybe it was an insurance scheme.
No, I mean breaking into a house and taking stuff would be something that law enforcement would.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And then the owner of the house, if they were doing something illegal, would be the one arrested.
Was there stolen property? Was it insurance fraud?
No.
That's what I thought it was. It was insurance fraud. The guy was like, "Yeah, get some buddies. We're gonna break into the house.
Move your mic.
We're gonna steal stuff." Sorry, I was watching.
I feel like
Smiling
we've
Friends
half
the other
figured it
day.
Yeah, I
out.
mean, we
And you're
kind of
mad.
like-
Well, I mean, you definitely figured out most of it. There's just one specific thing that you were close to.
He's not a drug dealer.
It literally doesn't say. He could be.
Was he dealing, like,
I guess the drug part doesn't matter. It's just like
Right.
they were doing
was he an
something.
informant?
No.
He was a criminal.
Was he a fence?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you got it. So 5 men were policemen. They had an arrest warrant to enter a mobster's house.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. So I think
so,
I was closest with the fence thing.
That was like the fastest I think.
That was real fast. That was good.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna have to do the next one.
Because I think the fact that it didn't explicitly say they were breaking into a house and stealing things, I kind of like set off something in my head. I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. This is going to take 20 minutes.
I don't know if we've done this one. Gone with the Wind. Have we done Gone with the Wind?
I don't think so.
Gone with the Wind. If the wind hadn't blown so strongly that night, Angela would still be alive.
Is there a tornado?
No.
Hurricane?
No.
Is
What?
Angela a human being?
Angela is a human being, yes.
Did it was there a house on fire and
No.
it blew the flames? No.
That would be pretty funny, though.
Right?
No.
Is there a thunderstorm?
No.
Is Angela a person?
Angela is a person, yes.
this have to do with ship being blown around?
No.
Does it have to do with wind?
Yes. And not the one coming from someone's
Was
backside.
Angela...
Is it a typhoon?
No.
Is Angela on the ground during this?
Yes.
Okay, so not a hot air balloon being blown.
No.
Right.
Not that again.
She's not skydiving or something.
Not jumping out to save the other
Is
passengers.
there some sort of natural disaster?
No.
It's just a high wind.
It's just a...
Not even a high wind. Is it high wind?
I wouldn't say high wind. It's windy.
So you're talking.
And it kills her.
Yes.
The wind directly kills her.
If the wind hadn't blown so strongly that night, Angela would still be alive.
Did it blow her car off the road and kill
No.
her?
Did it knock out power and she was on life support?
No. Not another one of those.
We already did that one.
Would coroner's report give the cause of her death is directly related to the wind somehow?
So components on this game.
I love the dice. I like the translucent-ish... Well, they're not translucent, are they? But they like this like milky opal red, yellow and red dice.
Yeah, I mean, they look like flames.
Yeah. And I was saying as we were playing, like, I love the colors.
Oh,
of the
yeah,
game.
the colors on this are really nice. Of course, you've got fire on just about every single tile you pull
Pretty
out.
much, yeah.
Because your pirate crew are not the brightest of the bulbs. But, I mean, the tokens, it's just cardboard. The only thing that's not cardboard besides the dice are your miniatures. You got your plastic miniatures, which are nice, and your deckhands. That's what they're called.
Yeah, the wooden, screen-printed wooden skeleton
Wooden skeleton heads. Or wooden skulls. That's what they're skeleton heads. It's a skull. What the fuck? Anyway.
Skeleton heads.
The artwork on the tiles very much evokes pretty much every time you flip a tile, it's like, oh shit. Like this room looks like, oh no.
Yeah. Because after you get the first setup, you're like, oh, I could do this. And then you flip another one, you go, oh no.
And the player mats are really cool.
Yeah, that's right.
And the coins are really
So-
neat.
You get your player mats. They've got a dial on it that shows you what your fatigue is. Everyone starts at 0, and when you run into a room with a dice, that's what your fatigue goes up to.
Yeah. And if it's lower than what your current fatigue is, you're good. You don't have to raise it any higher, but...
If you go into a room that has a higher, you gotta jump it up.
Yep.
I feel like we barely burned any fatigue.
Yeah, I
we
feel like we were
barely-
doing something wrong there.
Well, my
But-
character, I could take one less fatigue, which was pretty fun.
No, I think we just didn't take advantage of the fact that we probably just should have been more aggressive.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's probably it.
And of course, there are rules you can get back. You can, lessen your fatigue by resting, taking a turn to rest. You can take an action to get rid of the deckhands, put out fires, all that fun stuff. Man, I finally got treasure. I actually got treasure, and I couldn't pick the damn thing up.
Yeah. So, components-wise, the original Kickstarter of this had a big issue,
Oh?
and that was the initial starting 4 tiles. Those initial starting 4 tiles were all one tile.
Ooh!
So if a room exploded, you couldn't flip it upside down.
Yeah, that's... Oh, no.
And so they're like, oh, well, just, they like printed the backs off, and they're like, just print off the backs and just put it on top.
That'll fix it. Yeah, that'll fix it.
So it's like, how do you playtest this game that much and not realize that? Yeah,
Maybe
Clearly those rooms never blew up.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say, maybe they
guess,
got that
yeah.
lucky that they didn't blow up.
I guess.
Right,
I mean, that just tells me they didn't playtest it enough.
Did Angela blow up?
No. Angela did not.
Was she
blow
flying
up.
a kite and she got, like, blown away?
She was flying a kite.
Oh!
Did she
And
get
she got struck by
electrocuted?
lightning.
She did get electrocuted, but not struck by lightning.
She hit a power cord.
She
Power line.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Wow, we're on a roll.
You guys are on a roll, so it was a very
Freaking
windy
awesome.
night. Angela decided to go to a field to fly her kite. At twilight, she could not see the nearby transmission tower when her kite got tangled in the cable.
Her
She
kite
tried
got
to-
tangled.
Her
That's
tight
right.
got tangled.
I hate you guys. She tried to untangle them, and she was
Untangle them.
electrocuted. I'm gonna punch you.
I don't know why.
What works in this game?
The sense of impending doom.
Absolutely. The urgency.
How about it? This game is intense.
Intense.
It's camping.
Luckily,
intense.
it's not in excess. I knew I'd get Tom with that.
The fire was sometimes in excess.
Yes, it was. Like the fire that blew up 2 of our rooms.
Yep.
Oh, holy crap.
No, I really like just the artwork. I like how you place a room in the ship before you ever enter the ship. You know, like,
Yeah.
or before you take your turn, you can like place where the rooms are gonna be.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thematically, it doesn't really make sense,
Right.
you know. But
There's no active exploration as you're going.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, you're systematically like picking a new room, choosing where it's gonna go. It's more
Right.
strategic, less thematic, but I like it.
Yeah, I like the the strategery.
Thank you,
That is not a word.
thank you, GW.
No, I really do like the strategy element of it.
Yeah.
Even though we did it wrong and totally screwed ourselves over.
What else is new?
Yeah, that's true. See, when we do cooperative, we all screw ourselves over. When it's PJ by himself, or, in another game, PJ screws himself over.
Yep.
I'm just surprised we didn't hear a whole lot of, oh, shit,
Is that the
no,
difference
I should have
between
done that.
masturbating and an orgy?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Just make sure.
Oh my.
Well, that took a turn.
Favorite moments?
No, what?
Oh,
doesn't
wait,
work?
what doesn't work? Yeah, what doesn't work?
There's a lot to learn and take in at once, I feel like, and you have so many choices that it's a little hard to know exactly how to make best use of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
not gonna lie, PJ, when you were going over the rules, I was going, what?
Yeah, it's one of those things where like
I
Once-
lost myself. What?
even reading the rulebook, I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? I just had to set up the game. And listeners, I apologize for the puppy.
No, he doesn't.
We have a corgi, and he is
Annoying.
energetic. Well, he's not annoying, kind of, but I mean, the whole potty training thing's getting annoying. That's getting real old.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, like even with the rulebook, I just set up the game and I just eventually just start playing and checking the rulebook for references because I'm like, I have no idea what this book is trying to tell me right now.
Yeah.
Just because it's a lot, not because the rulebook is bad. It's just a lot. So the main point of the game is that you have 5 actions and you have 5 action tokens and you're spending those action tokens to do a whole bunch of different stuff like walking, running, reducing the fire limit on the dice, picking up things, resting, battling.
That's the one thing that kind of bugs me is I have to spend an action token to pick up the thing I'm trying to get.
Oh, when you fight something, you have to drop the thing, fight the skeleton, and then pick it back up again.
No, I don't like that. I don't like it at
It is
all.
nice that on the item cards, like the thing for the action token that's on them if you have to use
Yeah, there's a
an
little
action
icon there.
to use yeah.
I do
That's
like
pretty
that.
cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of unclear which enemies stay put and which enemies come after you just glancing at the board.
Yeah, because like the skeleton crew versus the guards, they're all undead. Yeah, but when you put them side by side, you see which one's the skeleton and which one's a guard. But yeah, without knowing which one's which, like when you pull that first token out and put it on the map, you're like, okay, is
Is
it
this
a
a
guard
skeleton?
or is it a skeleton because it looks dead? So yeah, that's a good point. That's a
And then you
real
pull
good
out the
point.
other one, you go, yeah, no, it's dead.
Yeah. One thing I haven't found in the rule book, I'm sure it's in there somewhere, is why these have numbers on them. The
Oh,
Some of the loot tokens?
I have no
like,
idea.
what's the numbers for?
Do they-
Point value?
Right, do
or-
they need to add up to something?
Yeah, like it doesn't. Make
Well, I mean, we didn't really get anywhere close to the scoring phase.
Because we couldn't even get off the freaking ship.
If it was not that we had to get 6 items, but we only had to get 6 points, that would make me feel even sadder.
It's true.
Grog. Your pirate can overcome fatigue by drinking grog. If you pick up a grog token, you may use it immediately or save it for a later time. You lower your fatigue by the number on the grog.
So it doesn't count as treasure.
So it's not treasure.
Oh,
I did
that's even
all that
harder.
for nothing.
Oh, let's take the grog off the ship for later. Oh wait, we're gonna die anyway. I'm never gonna get to drink it. I just should have drank it on the
man.
spot.
That's evil.
Oh.
I could have died doing what I liked.
Mm. And some of these treasures are like empty, or
Oh, that's a
trap
trap
doors.
door. Yeah, because the trap doors send out more deckhands, and then they spread out.
Damn those deckhands!
like this needs a very easy mode.
This means that you're stupid and you don't know what you're doing. Probably still couldn't have beat that, but we would have tried.
There is an expansion where you fight a kraken, and like tentacle pieces like come out onto the board.
As
And...
if the burning ship and the undead were not bad enough, and having to get
Is that a freaking octopus? in there?
Why is Poseidon just fucking with us right now? Release the Kraken!
Obviously, we blinded his son, so he's
Oh.
very angry.
Okay, well, oops.
It's all the fire. The fire on a ship in the middle of the water.
It's like, wait, the undead, the fire, like the kraken. It's like, which god did we piss off? Or did we piss
I
off
know,
all of them?
right?
Probably.
Well, Hades, that's why
Right.
he's giving us the undead.
Right.
Yeah. Poseidon,
Poseidon,
with
with
the
the Kraken.
Festus? I don't know.
Favorite moments of this game?
Being able to use my what I thought was useless bucket.
When we first like got our items, Dan's like, "What'd you get? Dagger? What'd you get? Sword? What'd you get?" And
Compass.
compass.
What'd you get?
I got a stupid bucket.
My favorite moment was Dan being sad about getting a bucket.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was pretty cool though to watch the two sections of the ship just blow up.
Oh yeah,
I think my favorite moment was when we realized we lost.
yeah.
Or how we realized
right.
that we lost.
We're like, oh.
Wait,
oh,
no, we can't get back
We
there.
can't get back there.
You can't go home again.
Yeah, this game is cool and like good components for a pretty low price.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely best put on something like a neoprene mat like we have here.
To pick up those tiles easily, because when a room blows up and it's surrounded by 8 other tiles,
Yeah.
you know, to pick that up without the mat underneath would not be fun.
No,
I mean-
I think we should just
It's
3D
probably just slide it back together, but
we should just 3D print like a little thing we can shove in there and flip it like a mini spatula.
it's a neoprene mat though. You just bloop.
Hmm.
that's why you game on a neoprene mat.
I still like the mini spatula idea, so fuck you.
Get yourself a mini spatula.
Fine, I will print one whenever I get my 3D
Fine,
printer
do it.
fixed.
We need to game on my tapestry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bringing back 1 year lookbacks.
Oh yeah.
1 year ago was the Great American Mail Race.
Ah yes. We haven't played that in a while.
That's
That was
a fun little
game.
game. It was a
Um,
Target Prospero Hall game.
Yep.
Pick up and deliver.
That was
Style
Potato
game.
Head.
Oh yeah, we
the
did
big
the
potato.
We had this issue when we reviewed it last year. Is I kept calling it a Prospero
Prospero
Hall
Hall.
game, and it's not.
It's a big potato game.
Big potato.
I want a baked potato now.
But
I
yeah,
said big potato, not baked potato.
I don't care. I want a baked potato.
but yeah, I would definitely play that game again. The game is
What's the
So-
game over again?
We
Yeah.
we took it to not. I lost words. Gone. Can't think.
Fundraiser at Helix.
Yes,
Yeah.
not this year's, but last year's fundraiser at Helix.
yeah.
There's only one issue with that game.
It's
When
only
you're
4
out of-
players.
well, 4 players, and when you're out of stamps, where are you gonna find another book of stamps?
I mean, the little scorecard.
Oh, the
Yeah.
scorecards. You just have to copy it. Print off copies.
That's not fun.
I'm sure you can find them somewhere.
I'm sure, but the game.
Oh,
is,
yeah, I'm sure.
The game is addicting.
Damn, now I want to play that game.
But yeah, I don't know because I was finally at Target and their selection is quite awful.
Oh yeah, we just went a few days ago and looking
Yeah.
at the board games again, and we're like, wow.
They had Scout though. I almost bought Scout.
Ooh.
It's a trick-taking game, but once you pick up your cards, you're not allowed to rearrange them in your hands.
Bah!
You have to
That
play.
tricks, Mom. They're illusions.
So yeah.
Something a whore does for money.
So yeah, you have to play the cards as they are in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's a trick-taking game. It might be more like Rummy, but I'm curious to see how that game plays. I hear it's really good.
Yeah.
So But yeah, Target's game selection is not good anymore.
For a while, it was really nice.
It was amazing, yeah. And now
That's
the
where
only
we got Great American Mail Race.
Yeah,
that is.
Because that was our
The
buy two, get one.
Mhm. Yeah, online, you can still get good games from their site, but not in
Not in
our store.
And it's a shame
Maybe we
because
should
Target,
go
that's
there.
where you got the Funko games, right?
Yeah, they have all the Funko games were sold through Target.
I want to do the Jurassic Park game with you.
I'd say solo mode, this game is exactly the same. You just play 2 characters or more.
That's pretty cool.
It goes up to 5, which I really appreciate. I get that most games max out at 4. I like it when they go up higher.
Yeah,
Probably
'cause
another
more
reason
people-
why we like Stonemaier, because they minimum is 5 players.
Yeah.
That they max at. And some of them go up to 6 or 7.
I really love the box art on this. It's just so cool.
Is.
Yeah, it
The
is.
burning
And
ship.
it's indicative of the rest of the game too.
yeah. This is one of those things where you look at the box and you know what you get a good idea of what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
You're getting yourself dead.
I have to say, I had no idea what I was getting into when I bought this. We saw it at Helix. Dan,
Tabletop.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Because Dan, you were the one that saw it initially.
Yeah, and I was gonna buy it,
Yeah.
and then we ended up buying something else, and you picked it up.
But
Because
yeah,
if you didn't get it, I was going to.
Yeah, all I saw, all the back of the box says is, you're working cooperatively to loot the ship and get off and fight off, the enemy pirates that are guarding the treasure. It doesn't really say, it mentions the fire, but I had no idea this game would be like Pandemic with pirates.
Really good tagline.
Pandemic with pirates.
So,
The disease is actually fire.
so that was
Would you
a
say
shock.
the disease would have you burning up? Oh, that was a bad joke. I'm
it
sorry.
burns. It burns.
I've got a favor, guys.
But yeah, that was shocking for me when I first played this. I didn't realize how strategic this game would be.
I'm mad we couldn't get to the dinghy.
What?
The dinghy.
Hi.
Hi.
Carrie has joined.
Carrie has joined. Carrie has entered the chat.
Player 5 has entered the game.
Did you do your dark story?
Yeah, we
Two
actually
of
did
them.
2 of them.
We got 2 of them in a row. We were like, boom, boom.
Real
I'm
fast.
so
Yeah.
proud.
We were channeling you.
What would Carrie do? What would Carrie think of is more like a...
Yeah. Death.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week, everyone. I'm going to add in our interview with Jason Blake at the end of this episode, so stay tuned after the theme song plays out for the interview. If you didn't see it on YouTube, you can listen to it right here.
Yeah.
And there are still a couple days left to get in on the Game Found campaign if you want to back it. I went all in with the wash, which is optional, and I'm paying $48 a month, which is not bad. If you go all in without the wash,
Like I did. It's only like 36.
36, yeah, something like that.
36 or 38. It's not that expensive.
It's not, no.
And those are 6 payments.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, this game probably won't ever hit retail.
no.
If you listen to the interview, you're going to hear some pretty cool reasons why you want to be backing this game.
Absolutely.
And why you want to be following Jason in the future, because this next idea is also pretty fantastic.
I'm really excited to talk to him about this.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's going to wrap it up for this week, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Email us at gamesoboard@gmail.com. Visit us at gamesoverboard.com. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and House Exorcism on Twitter. And also, they have their own Instagram.
Yeah!
And don't forget, July 19th, so in a little less than a month, we are going to be live from Penhurst. Hopefully live, if service allows us.
Right.
If not, we're going to be taking so much video and audio.
Data.
Yeah, data that we're going to be posting it online, and that's just going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. So, July 19th, pay attention to our Facebook page. One way or the other, we're going to post if we're going live or if we're not going live, and Instagram too. So just make sure you're following us on one of those social medias so you can, be part of the group there and see Penhurst firsthand.
Right, PJ, get out of the bucket.
All right, have a good week, everyone.
All right. Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
You gotta click one of
yeah.
those.
Recording in progress.
Hi, welcome to Games Overboard. I'm PJ.
I'm Dan.
I mean, if
And
it
I'm
recorded that,
Jason.
you need to keep that. If it
Oh yeah,
recorded
that's
it.
definitely gonna be in there if it recorded.
You need to choose one of those.
So for the third time on our show, we have Jason Blake.
Yay! I feel like Pee Wee Herman right now. You said the magic word. Yay!
Awesome. Well, let's go to the movies. Oh,
It's
Keep your pants on.
Okay, please never do that again.
Is that a little too close?
That's a little too far.
I thought I saw a red bicycle move across the street. It was crazy.
Was there a pale white dude in a gray suit on it?
Right.
Well, I got the gray.
If tequila starts playing, I'm out.
Don't make me get up on this table and dance.
God.
So, first off, congratulations.
Thanks so much. Holy
Yes.
cow! Can you believe it? After all this time, oh my god!
Yeah.
That's just nuts.
So, it's been a roller coaster of emotions. How are you feeling right now?
It really, I mean, holy cow, it has been one heck of a journey so far. We're 22 days in today, and we have 7 days left in the campaign. Obviously, if you have been keeping up with the updates, there has been insanity going on behind the scenes, and I love more than anything to share all that. So, in the updates, there's just been crazy stuff, but I will tell you, in spite of everything, I am over the moon. I cannot begin to tell you how satisfying it feels to, after 8 years and all this time and all the grief from last year and everything, when we hit that funding goal, even as crazy as the story is behind that, but when we hit that funding goal, I could not believe it. I could not believe it. And here we are. I mean, we're unlocking stretch goals. I never in a million years would I even thought that was ever going to happen.
Yeah, almost one a day.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost one a day. Yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
So I was reading the
Minnesota Killjoy.
Yeah, the Minnesota Killjoy. I was reading that update while I was at work, and I sat, and normally when I start work, I get into the office, I sit down, I look at, because I work in a hotel, all right, what rooms need, what needs to be fixed, what's going on, and I usually eat like a breakfast sandwich, and I'm like, oh, let's just take a look, and I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, what the hell? I gotta go, I gotta put stuff down, I gotta go fix some things. So I go work, come back a little bit later. I'm like, all right, I gotta pick this back up. It just keeps going. I'm like, my God, I gotta stop. I gotta do more work.
I didn't know you could read.
That whole story, I had a blast writing it because it was almost like a little bit of release for me to
I
deal
bet.
with the crazy anxiety and deal with all the stress from it. It was almost like just a therapeutic exercise for me to write that whole thing. I had such a good time writing it.
I mean,
hope
it's
it
why
was
people
entertaining.
journal, right? It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like why when I was sick that one time and I wrote that thing about my dreams.
Oh my god.
Oh my God, it was like the craziest dream. And PJ's in part of the one of our Discord groups, and PJ's like, oh, Dan put something. Oh,
What is happening?
what the hell? And everyone else is like, are you okay? Do you need some? Like, no, I'm fine. It's a fever dream, and it was messed up. Like, I'm fine. You're like, oh, you should probably go see help. No, I just need to feel better.
Right? Yes, exactly. After what I went through, it was the same outcome.
So, for people who don't read the updates, things like that, our listeners who, maybe ignore us every time we mention your game, which we've been doing for like a while now.
Since you told us you were coming back with the game.
Yes.
We need seismic.
So, mostly for those who haven't read your updates, especially update 6, which is like,
Oh, yeah.
we can talk
That was a
about
biggie.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the people who haven't read, explain why they should be pledging. Why someone should pledge to this game.
Holy cow, yeah. Well, I mean, first and foremost, it's a passion project. I mean, this is not this is not some, I started a company and I'm going to get rich quick tomorrow. This is a project I've been working on for a long time. And, it's hard to qualify something like that to people because crowdfunding, it's such it really is sketchy. At the end of the day, crowdfunding is, it started off, I think, with its heart in the right place as an overall industry and an opportunity for people to create, big projects, not just board games, but anything. But, obviously in the last, 15 years or so, things have gotten, a little ugly, out there in the crowdfunding world. And so when you tell people like, hey, I got a crowdfunding project, come back me, and everybody's just like, yeah, sure, you and 1,000 other people. But, when I try to tell people, I was like, really, I'm doing crowdfunding the way it's supposed to be.
It's not a pre-order system.
Exactly. The game will not exist without people coming and helping me make it. I'm making it not just for you. I want to make it for me. I want it on my shelf.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole thing behind it. I mean, we've talked about it before in the past, but it really is a passion project. I've lost more money than I will ever regain from it. But the sentiment, the joy and the entertainment that I hope it brings everybody else in the world, that really, I know that sounds cheesy as hell, but that is the payment that I hope to get back is when I deliver it and people experience it and they go, wow, he wasn't kidding. This delivers. Yeah. And that's what I'm really hoping for. And maybe if the crowdfunding board game gods shine on me later, after I deliver the first one, there'll be demand for a reprint. And at that point, now we can start to see what Seismic's true potential is.
Right.
That I'm going to get to that because I am very excited with some of the ideas that you have for that.
Yeah.
So that leads me to like when you talk about like all the joy it brings people and everything. I've only met one person online who has spoken ill of the game, and it's because they played an early version of like 3 years ago, I think they said it was.
Yeah, maybe so, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, it was kind of a mess, and I'm like,
I believe it.
Yeah, like everything I've heard from people from last year onward, when you were like really sending it out to cons and everything, like no one has said anything bad about this game, other than if you don't like Take That games, this may not be for you,
Sure, yeah. And I do address that. I do address it a lot. Is that Seismic is not for everybody. There's no doubt.
Yeah. But my next big thing is, and I want to shout out an unsung hero. Who is Cyber Bruno? Because that guy is awesome.
I believe it or not, I know that this will probably come as a surprise. I actually do not know him. He is, and I say it meaning like on a personal level.
Yeah.
At this point, he is in my Discord. Mm-hmm. He has been in my Discord for a couple of years now, and he has been. I don't want to say like my biggest fan, like he's some kind of stalker or weirdo. He is far from it. He is a genuinely good guy who has done nothing but try to help, he even gives me advice on things, because I'm working in a vacuum. I'm by myself. I'm trying to do this whole thing. And he initiated contact to the point of where he was like, hey, I've got some ideas I really want you to think about, for the page, and things that, I'm coming from a fan and a consumer. Mm-hmm. Here's some things you might want to think about. And I'm like, oh, thanks so much, man. No, that's great. I love the feedback. Let me take some of that and I'll work with that.
Yeah.
He's almost been, in a roundabout way, he's like my handler.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like, even on the GameFound campaign, he answers questions for you all the time.
It's unbelievable. He's got to spend his waking hours doing nothing but I swear to you, he spends just as much time as I do working on the game.
It sounds like it. Like, I want to give a shout out to that guy because like
he's amazing. He really is amazing. I actually, and I was going to joke with him about this. I didn't even know his real name until he pledged. Because you know, and I was like, oh my god, I actually I know where he lives, and I know what his name is, you know, because we've shared, I mean, hundreds of hours of conversation back and forth through text, through Discord, through comments online. Even as recent as just a couple of hours ago, he has communicated with me right before this and before, and he's like, "Hey, listen, here's a little thing. You know, do you want me to do this, or how do you want to handle this?" And I talked to him. I know that you know, he does. He's got a day job. He's got a wonderful girl that I keep telling him he needs to lock down. And you know, he's got, I mean, it's not like he's some weird basement dweller, you know, guy. And, you know,
Still lives with his mom.
Wait, hold on. We're doing this in a basement. Does that consider us basement dwellers right now?
I mean, ours was a haunted basement. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
so-
Well, so we're the second dwellers of this?
Yeah.
Oh, right. No, you know what I mean. But anyway,
Yeah.
All right.
he really is amazing. But yes, he deserves all the shout out.
Yeah,
So.
I know he listened to our last interview with you, so hopefully he listens to this one. So if you're listening,
sure
if
he
you're
will.
watching this, like seriously, man, like
Yes,
awesome.
he's
work.
amazing.
It seems like he just comes at you with like a different perspective.
He does. He really does. It really has been.
Like he has that kind of mind that
amazingly
thinks
helpful.
differently than
Yes.
a lot of other people.
The amount of feedback and content he has provided to me in Discord alone, I could literally write a book about. I mean, it's just, that is the amount of you know, not just feedback, but it's just like ideas and how to handle things. And hey, you might not want to talk about this, or hey, you might really want to talk about this. And people are asking about this. I really think you should cover it. All of these things. It's almost like, in a roundabout way, he's the voice of my audience that is whispering in my ear that I don't get to see the big picture of. And he really is great. He's amazing.
And even like right now, I'm pretty sure right now at this instant, he's teaching a game on Tabletop Simulator.
Yes,
unless he
now.
rescheduled it. It was supposed to be right now at this time.
Yes, right now he is doing that.
That's fantastic.
Guy's incredible.
We should just chime into the Discord and join the chat channel and have it. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Maybe at the end of this we will. Yeah.
Not a bad idea. I can't speak.
Yeah.
My mind is not running in the right direction. So, another question I got for you. Some of the people are saying that the game feels like it's overproduced. It's a little bloated.
Oh sure, yeah.
Like,
What's your response?
what's your response to any of that?
I want it that way.
Yep.
So no. You know, there's right. You know, when I started making the game, this was late 2016. The crowdfunding world around that time was exploding with content. You know, this was right around the time that Lords of Hellas had just come out from Awakened Realms. Nemesis had just landed. You know, Tainted Grail was on the horizon. We had Dwellings of Elder Vale that came out with like these massive pre-painted miniatures with little sound effect bases.
Yeah.
Everything when I started Seismic was over the top, and so that not only was I into that, you know, I like that huge table presence and that crazy. I want my toys. I want to play my toys. So you know, the difference was, I think now the crowdfunding world has shifted, and of course the problem is I'm 8 years into this. I can't, you know, I'm not nimble enough to be like, well, hold on, let me go ahead and make everything with cubes. It's a little late for that. So the problem is when I started it, this was what the market wanted. Here we are 8 years later, and the market has absolutely shifted, and it is now looking at things like, you know, people don't want the quote unquote bucket of plastic anymore. They want they want a smaller box. They want the storage space back. They you know, people have all these games, and you know, we've bloated the industry from all these crowdfunding projects, and people lost their minds and backed. And then what's happened now is people have these massive collections, and then you get this huge box of stuff that shows up. And I mean, I'm just I got Deep Madness in the other day, and it literally came in a 30-pound, cardboard container, and I open up the top, and it's like a comedy skit. It's like if you looked at the side of the box, I'm just pulling, and it's like a box of.
It's like opening Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, yeah. Or
that game.
Or Frosthaven. God, I can't think of
Frosthaven,
I can't think of
yeah.
it. We're just doing
box.
Any game that shows up these days just has box after box after box. So I know that there are people right now that look at Seismic and go, "Oh my God, what an overproduced, bloated mess!" Yada yada yada. I understand, and let me tell you, I actually don't disagree with them. Based on current market conditions, it is not trendy right now. Now, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see the industry shift maybe a little bit. It's not going to go as crazy as it was in like the 17, 18, and 19 era. But what's going to happen is I think you'll see projects like Seismic, and you'll see maybe 2 or 3 a year versus the 200 or 300 a year that we were seeing in the late teens. So that's kind of my answer to it, is that absolutely it is actually a completely and utterly overproduced a box of madness. But I'm okay with that, and I think that there still
It's beautiful madness.
It's
it's a beautiful disaster.
I gotta tell you, I am super excited. I did put myself in for the all-in. The only thing I did not do, I did not put myself in for the wash.
Okay. Well, after
I
the
did.
pictures from last night's update, I can see why.
PJ did. I didn't see those pictures.
It's a joke. Their pictures were terrible, but go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm so sorry. But I also think that's something that's fun when you get the game. You can paint them the way you wish.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And I've got some miniatures that I was at a convention here in Texas in January, and I brought the unpainted miniatures because my wife actually painted all the miniatures in the different player colors because I printed them all out in gray initially. But I took a couple of just gray miniatures that had no finish, no primer, nothing, straight out of my 3D printer. Took them to I just had a bag of like gray miniatures of various sorts. And I brought him over to this booth. This painter from San Antonio was just sitting there, just painting miniatures the entire convention. And she comes over and goes, "Oh my God, what is this?" And I got a bag for you. Hold on. So I handed her this bag of all these different, just ready to go miniatures. And she was like, "I'm taking this. I'm taking this. I'm taking this, and I'll be right back." And she takes it, and these miniatures are unbelievable. I mean, they are gorgeous. I actually need to take pictures and put them in one of my next updates because she painted them and they're gorgeous.
Be a good
But yeah,
painting
I get it.
guide for those who want
yeah.
to paint up their set.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
we can call that the official colors.
Yes, exactly.
So, let's see here. Next, what do I want to do next?
I don't know.
I feel like
So,
the one after
you know
that-
what?
The one after that would be a good question
Yeah,
to
it
do.
goes into that really well.
Yeah.
It does.
He's going. Do tell.
Oh yeah, come in.
I'm ready. So, in terms of overproduction and big box of plastic and everything, some people on Reddit have been saying, like, this has a lot of different places where there could be hiccups and delays or problems.
Absolutely.
And can you put their fears at ease of, like, any ways you took that into account? Things like that, like, with all this plastic, they're saying, like, things are going to go wrong with production. What if something breaks? Are there going to be like, replacements?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, and these are the kinds of questions. It's wonderful to experience the hype and the positivity of the campaign. I mean, obviously, I wake up and I have these wonderful comments, and everybody's super pumped, and my Discord is alive. We're talking, but one of the things that I like to talk about are the actual fears. The true challenges that lie ahead. This is a real thing, and as a backer myself of hundreds of other projects, I have the same fears. I look at these projects that I back and I'm like, this is a lot of money. And this is like an independent project. This is not CMON or Awakened Realms or Asmodee. This is like a guy. And this is the same thing that people should be looking at me about. They should look at this with a critical eye. I absolutely invite them to do so. Some of the things that I can do to alleviate those fears is, first of all, I'm a perfectionist to a degree anyway. I mean, I'm going to make sure that everything is right. The second thing is I work for a robotics company. You guys know that, and I have kind of an engineering mind. So when I look at a mini, and I look at I immediately seek out the weak points because I think about that. I look and I go, oof, that's that we need to beef this up, or I need to tie this together. For example, like the speaker miniature, this woman has very small arms. The woman's miniature is, she's kind of doing this pose. There's a flag behind her. I look at this and I'm like, the very first thing that I did, even in my own experimentation of my own 3D printing of that character, I started off printing in what's called just your standard gray resin. This is just off-the-shelf gray resin from Amazon. I printed out a bunch of miniatures. I was, of course, this is early on, several years ago, and I was super pumped about like how they came out. I was like, oh my God, this looks amazing. And then at one point, I just dropped it. And then we're talking about a miniature that's like, 20, 25 millimeters tall. This thing has no mass, there's no terminal velocity. It's going to hit the floor, right? I mean, it's like dropping half of a feather. You don't think anything's going to happen. This thing, when it hit the floor, exploded. And I'm just like, what happened? So I looked at that, and the first thing I did is I didn't just go, damn, the bad resin, yada yada yada. What I looked at is I looked at where the break points were. I was like, okay, how did this break? So then the next thing I did is I said, all right, clearly this resin is too brittle. The next thing I need to look at is I need to look at something that has like some give, so that when these things, when somebody drops it off their game table, when it hits, is it going to bend a little bit and kind of bounce a little bit? And you don't want that amount of mass. Resin, for 3D printing is very, very heavy. So, and it's very dense. So what I was looking at is I was already kind of playing, chemical engineer at home, trying to, I do a mix right now of, I do 1:5 ratio of a flexible resin and an ABS resin. ABS is extremely strong. It doesn't have any of the brittle properties. So, for example, when I finally came to the realization that I can grab a miniature in my hand, obviously, you're never going to get to a point where you can just grab it and crush it. We don't want army men like miniatures. We want something a little more board gamey than army men. But when I realized this is the kind of give that I need to make sure that my manufacturer achieves, that's when I knew, okay, now I know what the tensile strength should be. I know what the flexibility should be. And I've tested things on my own to make sure that I can relate to the manufacturer. And so, of course, the next thing I did is I went through a lot of the games in my own collection, and I said, all right, let me feel this miniature. Let me feel this miniature. And, you start looking at games. I always quote the Matrix. At some point, Neo, he just starts seeing green everywhere. It's like
seeing the codes.
Exactly.
That's how I am with listening to podcasts now. I'm like, oh, they made a cut there.
Exactly. Yep. So it's that kind of thing. You start looking. I don't look at the game anymore. I look at the design. I look at mechanics that have been shoehorned in, and then I look at the components, and I go, oh, they didn't look at, this doesn't fit together very well. And then I'll look at something else. I'm like, oh, they cheated. They didn't have I see what they had to do here. So I look at production. I haven't produced a board game, of course, in manufacturing, but the hope is that I can alleviate the fear of people who are worried that I have many of the same fears, and having those same fears, I'm not blind to them. So the idea is I can actually look at those things with a critical eye myself and go, there are many challenges. There are problems that I'm going to be facing. And this is not something to be taken lightly. And I don't take it lightly because, of course, I want the game to be a success. And of course, the idea is to have a game that not only brings everybody joy and entertainment, but if I do get it out there and it works and it's, everybody's happy and it's awesome and everybody loves it, and then we get BGG rankings and everything's good, and then suddenly there's demand for a reprint, that's my ultimate goal. Now I've met the first goal, right? So that would be kind of my initial reaction. So.
At some point when you were opening these boxes and molesting these minis, did you at some point feel creepy? Like, this one's nice.
What do you mean at some point?
I just had to ask.
It was immediate, actually. It was completely immediate.
Like,
As soon as
this
I
is-
grabbed one, I'm like, ugh.
This is weird.
I'm gonna open this box and I'm gonna find you little plastic bag. I'm sorry, I
Right?
did that wrong. Really, what you should have said is, okay, first I'm gonna open the box and I'm going after you because you're the best. You're the greatest in the world. Okay, the greatest.
So, yeah, like I've discovered just a couple months ago when we got Heroes of Might and Magic 3 at the door, immediately one of the hero pieces fell and off the table onto the floor 3 feet, and one of the flags snapped off. I'm like, no!
Oh, God, that's terrible.
And then, like, I just got,
It was a tragic event.
I just got Blood Rage last week, and that one, like you said, there's like give to some of the monsters and things like
you
that.
could play football with the Blood Rage.
Yeah, right.
monsters.
Anything
You're
by
not
Sea
going to break
Monsters
those
is
things.
real nice.
So,
Yes.
what is it? A sea monster or something like that?
Yeah, the sea
Is that what it-
monster. Yeah,
Yes.
I was
all of those, all
I
those
was-
all
little
the tentacles.
playing with it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, look at this. He's kind of looking like he's ready to rock. He's like, ah, and then I dropped him like, ah. And like, oh, he landed right the way you're supposed
And
to.
see,
Alien
look-
standing up.
He just
That's
seems like
the
something
thing
you're
is-
supposed to mount on the wall.
exactly. But that's the thing is, you have to come at production and manufacturing with the knowledge and the
understanding
understanding of what is going to happen, and the only way you can do that is from experience. I've dropped
right.
my own miniatures. I've broken miniatures. There was a game called War of Whispers by not Space Cowboys. They have a 10-gallon hat for their logo. Tycoon.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I know the game.
publisher.
Yeah,
Big publisher that does a lot of different games. War of Whispers came out, and they had their quote-unquote deluxe edition, and they had these tiny little flags. And I cannot tell you the stalk or the staff that the flag was on. It was on this little base, very similar to my control flags, but this flag, the staff width, could not have been a 1/4 millimeter in diameter. Okay, I am telling you.
no.
As soon as I saw this, I was like, "Oh man, no way!" And sure enough, they came out with a second edition a year later, and it was, of all the flags had been super beefed up because they were going to go out of business trying to replace everybody's flag.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Version 2, now with beefier flags.
that's it. That's the only upgrade.
That's the only thing we've done. We've just
That was
made
it.
stronger flags.
The rest of
Right?
the game's the same.
Yes, exactly. But as far as other challenges, clearly we're talking about miniatures and everything right now, but it's there are many challenges, okay? And one of them is trying to make sure that, I want the box is going to be very heavy. I want the box to be able to hold everything in a single box as best as I can.
Yeah.
That is my goal. But again, there's just an amount of evolution with a product that is so custom with so many pieces, and the weight is an issue. In fact, even my manufacturer already told me the player board, and this is something that I'd already thought about, but I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. They said if I stick with the player board being almost 12 inches across, by the time that they produce it in a chipboard, and then by the time they put it in the box, because of course they're on the coast in China, all these manufacturers are very, very close to their coastline, so the humidity is horrendous. So they're going to produce this stuff, drop it in a box. The box may or may not be shrink wrapped in a short period of time. They may have enough silica gel in there to kind of eat up a little bit of the moisture, but odds are, by the time it reaches everybody, this thing is it's going to be the shape of an umbrella by the time it reaches you. So you have to take into account, how much silica gel needs to be in the box,
Right.
how much thickness does there need to be before it starts to warp, what can we do? And so, by the way, I don't know if you can picture in your mind's eye the board, is the 5 slots, the 5 command slots. We actually already talked about taking and having each one just be a kind of a puzzle piece part, so that you don't get this warped feel, and it would actually be about the same cost. So instead of me making this massive 12-inch or whatever size board that could possibly warp really badly, and then you get this wobbly effect, and it's just
Right.
terrible. The whole experience is terrible when you have a bad component like that. Now what we can do is, it's like you hand everybody their 5-piece board and they just stick them all together real quick and they just fit together and you're done, and you don't have these issues. So stuff like
perfect,
that.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic workaround. Or you just make sure that they're put down face down, so then when it comes out, you get this like really cool curve, and you be like, "Yeah, I've got my half of the globe."
Exactly.
So
I'm thinking inside the box.
yeah, obviously.
That was a horrible joke. I'm sorry.
I approve.
I love it.
It's a very dad joke.
It is very dad joke of me.
I do like how like the prototype box that you have on the GameFound page is almost like a perfect cube.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. That's what my hope is. I want it to really be what my vision is to have literally an entire Calyx shelf, 13 inch by 13 inch by 13
I
inch.
knew it. I knew that's what you were going for.
It's like, this is the seismic spot.
I would totally turn it sideways so only the logo was showing too.
Exactly.
I expect
that's awesome.
that when this thing shows up on my doorstep, I have to like put on my weightlifting belt and everything and be like, okay,
put your belt on, and
it's like, all right, remember guys, lift with your back.
That's only if your brother's helping
Exactly.
Oh, that's right. That's if my brother's helping me.
So in terms of distribution, though, this is just like a personal question because I'm just always confused by how the heck do you get the contact information for distributors? Like, I'm trying to find, we're working on a movie podcast, and I'm trying to find like contact information for a band, and I can't even find a way to contact them.
Oh,
Let alone
dude,
getting a hold of a distributor.
It is easier and harder than you think. So the problem is you start looking around at, something like board game distributors. So first of all, there's all kinds of distributors that are in the industry of sorts. And obviously with enough research, you start kind of knowing them. Obviously there was a big debacle here about a year ago with Fun Again Games. They went under right in the middle of like, just fulfilling like 20 different projects.
Yeah, Frosthaven was one of them. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. No warning, just all of a sudden, they're just gone. And so, there was other fulfillment companies that just kind of jumped in. The thing is I have certain internal biases just from being a backer. So one of them is I would get boxes. I get crowdfunding games seriously to my door still like every other week. So every time a box shows up, immediately I try to find out when I open the box if it's packed poorly. I immediately go and look at the updates or whatever, and I want to see who did they use for fulfillment because I don't want to use them.
See, that's
and so one of the things.
that's good.
It's market research.
Yes, exactly, market research.
Exactly. So one of the things that I was very reliable. Now they're not cheap. But one of the things that was very reliable always was Quartermaster Logistics. And again, if you back a lot of projects, you have absolutely seen their little flyer that they put in every single box. And no matter what the game company is, no matter who it is, Jamie Stegmaier also uses Quartermaster Logistics, and he uses Panda for his manufacturing. Mm-hmm. Those were my two go-tos. It was like Panda was going to be my manufacturer, and Quartermaster Logistics is my fulfillment partner. And that was going to be by experience, by reputation, all of the above. And of course, what happens is you go and it's like just like you want a Mercedes for your car or Rolls Royce. Wow, that's no wonder it shows up perfect every time. It is a very they're elite in those different industries, so they are very, very expensive. I have allocated what I hope is enough to be able to afford what I want, which is the Rolls Royce of fulfillment and manufacturing. But obviously, we all have to make sacrifices along the way a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I have had multiple meetings with Quartermaster, and I'm very, very pleased with them. However, again, they are very, very expensive, and you pay for integrity, you pay for competence. There's obviously things that they're going to deliver that I want for Seismic. The idea is this is one of those that if you live long enough, you finally realize it's true. But if you spend enough money up front, you think you're getting a bad deal, but in the end, you end up saving yourself not just more money, but a lot of grief.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what I'm hoping for,
paying
because
for a
I don't
state
want
of
to
mind
replace
in a way.
hundreds
Right.
of packages, you know?
Yeah.
So when you saw those prices, did you pull around Rodney Dangerfield and go, "Go, I give no respect, no respect."
Exactly. Yeah.
I just want to say, any of our listeners and viewers of this, if you guys know who Rodney Dangerfield was, thank you. Now I feel
And
less
also
old.
happy retirement.
Hey, come on! I watch Rodney. Not that.
I'm
old.
happy you know who he is.
Come on, how could I not?
Oh, he's the best.
Caddyshack?
Yeah,
I won't even
come
get
on.
into that Rover Dangerfield. That was weird. It was Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, he wrote the script too. A kid's cartoon film.
Right.
Away from the microphone.
She's yelling at me.
Good.
Oh my gosh. There's some ASMR. There's some ASMR for you right there.
Oh yeah, listen.
Yeah, there you go.
So
You were supposed to like pop it open and so you can hear
Oh,
the.
that's right. This reminds me of those. I'm gonna date myself again. The old Coke commercials
oh
that they would do
Oh,
before
yeah.
the movies and everything. And when
Yep.
they came out on VHS, like my favorite one was the Batman.
yep.
Oh yeah.
And you see Alfred open it up, Michael Go as Alfred open it up and everything, and you just hear and you see the Batmobile take
Exactly.
off. I'm like, oh. All right, now we gotta watch that movie again.
I just need
gotta
to
go
get
with
something
VHS.
out now.
Go for it.
Simon knows how to come at it. I'm sorry, I couldn't hold it anyway. I really wanted to say it.
Oh my god.
She was waiting for that climax.
Nice. Love
I
it.
couldn't hold it in any longer.
Love it.
Okay, I feel better now. Thank you.
Got that out of your system.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Fantastic.
So now that happened,
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm trying to stay clean for once.
Sorry.
It's like you hit me with these hard hitting questions and then that, you know?
Well,
Like,
you know,
Gotta keep it light, you know?
that's it. We love to entertain.
Indeed.
so we talked about Seismic. Now I want to talk about the future of Seismic. A little bit.
Oh, I do too.
Because you have mentioned something, I think it was in Discord, maybe it was in your AMA on Reddit, that I'm just amazed by, and it is the satellite expansion.
Oh, yes. Oh, I
Can you
love it.
please elaborate on that? Because I deliberately did not tell Dan and Angie about
Oh.
this.
Oh, he just said
Yes.
something. Went, what? Tell me. He's like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Like he's in my list of questions on docs. He's like, "What is the satellite expansion?" I'm like, "Just wait."
Oh man. So I really wanted to do it for this campaign. The problem is it's just another miniature, and it's a big miniature, and I wanted to do it as a stretch goal, but oh my gosh, it's going to be very expensive. But so in a nutshell, the idea is that we've got a circular board. We've got an orbit, obviously, since it's a planet. There's an orbit happening. So as you're playing the game, you would start off and you would just have a random. Generally, it's going to be where the first player is. You would have a random token on the peak of the hexagon that makes up the board. So you have your 6 peaks, the 6 corners. So where those corners are, you're going to have a token, and it's going to be just a small satellite token. So this is just the flat piece, and that at the end of every turn, that satellite token moves in a clockwise rotation around to the next peak, and that's going to be where it is during that next player's turn. So there's a miniature off to the side, not on the board, but it's sitting on the table. And this is a if you know what the power mech looks like, the power mech's already on these big rocket streams up in the air and all that. So imagine a satellite that is almost like a huge ray gun, kind of staring at the planet from off the side of the board. So it is way up in the air, and it's on it's on a clear stand. Underneath, though, it's not just a stand. Underneath are 2 small troop spots that you can place any troop, either a speaker, a miner, or a soldier. So if you've heard of the old adage of a knife fight in a phone booth, So here's the thing. You can send one of your units whenever you're activating them, whether it be one of those three. When you play that card and you send your units off, to walk across a map and do whatever they're going to do, you can take one of those units, and the only way you can get to the satellite is based on the quote-unquote ladder, or if you will, the token. They are heading straight off of that peak on the board, and that is the only way to get to the satellite. So they have to be able to reach that, and then when they go off that board, they enter, quote-unquote, the satellite space, and they're inside the satellite controlling it. So at that point, that unit now is locked into that satellite, and there's going to be an add-on for the board, one of the 25 actions you'll replace, and that will be fire the satellite at a hex. And so when you fire, not only does it create a double tremor event, which could, of course, end in a fracture event, but you also collapse that space and destroy anything in that space. So,
oh my God! Did you watch Star Wars, the original Star Wars, when you came up with this idea? This is a mini Death Star we're talking about.
Mini Death Star. What it really originates from, and this will tell you how geeky I am. I actually refer to it lovingly as the Soul. This is the Akira movie laser weapon satellite that they had, and so that is what they called it in the movie.
That's
in fact,
awesome.
When the weapon fires for the first time in the movie, somebody looks over and they look at the colonel, and the colonel goes, "What was that?" And it's like, somebody turns around and goes, "It was the Soul, sir." And I always remember that line of like, "What the hell is the Soul?" And I was like, "Oh my God!" And of course, in the movie, when you're watching the first time, it's like a huge event, and that was in my head because I was like, "Oh, I gotta have some kind of orbit." So some kind of orbital satellite. So the only way you can take control of it is if another enemy unit enters into the opposite spot on that satellite. And remember, the only way you can get to it is based on its orbit around the planet, or Colony City has a space elevator directly to it. So it's either one of the peaks around the edge or the Colony City. So you can always move to it, and it's basically just one more space to get to it. So the time that a second unit enters, it's basically Thunderdome time. So 2 men enter, 1 man leave. And so it is an immediate fight. It's the only time in Seismic that a battle is resolved immediately. So when that second unit enters, there is they have a standard one-on-one fight, and the person entering becomes the attacker. They get the attacker strike die, they get their standard combat die, and then they go at it. And whoever is the winner of that battle is who's controlling that satellite going forward.
So awesome.
And so that's the expansion I really, really would like to see come along.
If this expansion does come to fruition, PJ and I are going to fight a lot.
Oh my God. So much.
I mean, I can guarantee you we're going to fight a lot in the base game.
It's gonna be a lot of "you asshole."
Exactly. Or, well, hold on. I know the one thing we're going to hear. Shit! Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I just screwed myself.
I'm my own worst enemy in any game.
In every game. We were just talking about this with the game we played today. It was a co-op game. And I said, normally when we play against each other, we hear PJ go, shit, I screwed myself over.
Oh, why'd I do that?
Why'd I do that? And now we play a co-op game, and it's, shit, I really screwed us over.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we played Dead Men Tell No Tales. Have you played that?
Oh, yes,
That's
yes.
so good.
It's awesome.
Damn. I really liked it. It's
The art style is incredible. I just
I
love
love
the
the
style.
art.
And we did talk
Yeah.
about it. We did talk about it in the podcast today that we found it at our friend's shop there, Helix Tabletop Gaming Guild. I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, that looks really cool." And then I was like, "Wow, I kind of want this game too, and I can't get 2 of these." So I was like, "PJ, take a look at this." And he's like, "Oh!" I'm like, "All right, great. Now I don't have to buy it."
Fantastic.
Yep. So, satellite miniature extra. We talked about that. Then
Sure.
there are the other pseudo sequels or mini expansions of
Yes.
changing how the game plays, but using the same components, like a
Yes.
worker placement version of the game.
the long-term goal, and this is really pie in the sky kind of stuff because I don't think anybody's done this in the industry. What I feel like is what I'm delivering is a big box of toys. Okay, that's what Seismic is, and of course, this is also going back to this is also kind of going back to the argument of say the people on Reddit who are kind of like, oh, this is just a bunch of overproduced nonsense. What I'm trying to provide is not just a game, and I know this sounds very lofty, but I'm trying to provide a platform. And what I mean by that is that, okay, so I've given you this universe, this big planet board. It's got all these different terrain types. I'm giving you all these different units. You've got all of this stuff going on. And, there's already, obviously in this box, there's going to be several ways to play Seismic.
Yeah.
But what if I say, okay, let me go ahead and go back to crowdfunding in another year or so after this gets delivered. And I say, hey, that big box of Seismic you got? How about we make a worker placement game and you only give me $20 and I give you a rule book and is there a tornado nearby?
No, but we probably did something.
Fire somewhere.
Yeah, it's a fire.
Nah, sorry. Anyway,
It's not in the
there's
disco.
Fire in the disco.
So the idea would be is I can just say, here's a worker placement style rule set. Here's a new game winning goal. Maybe there's not even a colony ship involved. And maybe what I say is like, okay, a speaker can go to a habitat and they can gain whatever. I know that's going on forever.
It goes,
Binks is also running around here meowing.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I forget how many times it goes off. I think it's 12.
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We can wait if you'd like.
That's fine.
I was waiting for it to go off while we were sitting on the porch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm having PTSD. This is what happens every time a fracture happens. So
Shanna really wants that button, by the way. She just...
Yeah.
Oh,
well, that's gonna be
gosh,
my
I
next
know.
question is pertaining to the button.
Oh
So-
yeah, the button's on the list. We're working on it.
Yeah.
But going back to oh no. Oh my god. So going back to the idea of that you've got a big bucket of toys. What I would like to do is provide expansions for the game that is, like I could create an area control game. And you don't even necessarily like the win condition doesn't even include a colony ship. Let's just say it's on a planet. We don't even have to have fracture events.
Yeah.
I just say, okay, area control. Whoever owns the most hexes in Tundra, gets so many points, and whoever has this or that, and all that. You could do a very standard, by the numbers worker placement game. You go here and this, you place a miner on a crystal ore space.
Yeah.
You place a soldier over here and they battle for some points or something at a habitat.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of ways that I think that you can take a big box of components with all kinds of cards and boards and miniatures. And really the miniatures is the key. When you buy a big box of stuff like this, why should it sit on the shelf and only get used for one kind of experience? At that point, I would love to see Seismic just somebody goes, hey, grab the Seismic box. We're going to play this kind of game tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, grab the Seismic box. We're going to play that kind of game, and then it becomes now a platform, which, by the way, the best way I can always describe this is Rock Band. When Rock Band came out, it was a game with a bunch of plastic instruments
Yep.
and only like 20 songs or 30 songs. And of course, it was like a fortune. It cost an insane amount of money.
Oh, yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it's like, I bought it like day one. I'm like, oh, this is going to be amazing. And, I still own it. I still have it. It still gets used all the time. But of course, what they did is they said, well, this is going to be a platform. We want to create DLC going forward. And that's exactly what they did. And they managed this for 15 years, I think. In fact, I think it was almost 20 years. They had a 20-year anniversary, I remember. And they just stopped releasing DLC after 20 years because Rock Band came out in 2007.
Yeah,
And
it came out when we were in college.
Yeah,
I remember
it was,
that. That was
or
like-
even
it was
even
huge.
earlier, I think. So it was, it was very early. I think it's even before 2007 because I think I might be thinking of the Rock Band 2 because they changed platforms at that point. Anyway, disregard me. Anyway, the whole point is the idea is what I want to do is I want to sell you a big box of stuff that is a fully playable, cool system, and then basically give you quote unquote DLC as long as I can come up with ways to manipulate those components into a new game. So that would be my ultimate goal.
I love that idea. I think it's great.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. To a lesser extent, Mansions of Madness kind of does that, where like one scenario it's a murder mystery and you never throw a punch or kill anyone. Then the next one, you're running from a crowd of people, but it's still the same gameplay.
But that's also literally baked into your game. You've got a book that's full of ridiculously different scenarios.
Right. With this, it's like a different game every
it's
time.
literally a different game with the same
game,
component.
Wow.
That kind of hurt my ears, and I'm hearing these earphones. Wow.
I was trying to prepare myself for it, and I was not prepared.
God, I thought...
Excuse me. Gosh.
Lord PJ, what'd you eat?
I thought that was one of the walkers, from War of the Worlds.
Oh,
kind of makes
tripod.
Yeah, the tripods. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That was like the best part of that movie was the sound they made because it's exactly how the book describes it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry. Yeah. And that was like the only really
the lol law is how the book types it out, and
that was like the biggest thing that I liked about it. Everything else is like Tom Cruise. I don't care.
Yeah.
Go ahead, keep running from your thoughts.
At least tonight wasn't a high-speed chase. Last time.
Last time.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right. There was a high-speed chase.
That was a good time.
Going back to the launch button.
Oh yeah, the launch button. Yes.
You mentioned the possibility of being able to purchase any additional stretch goals. I feel like that would be expensive, right? Unless B, like a certain number of people signed up for it, and only then would they be made. But I wasn't sure what your thoughts were for that. If that was, you mentioned it as an idea, but it doesn't seem like it would be financially feasible.
So, I have a quote already on the fully functional launch button. It is not cheap. I can
I bet.
I still think it is doable. I would probably need to rationalize making it. I would probably need at least 100 people, maybe a couple hundred people on board.
Yeah. And
I do believe that there's enough hype that if I did offer it and we didn't unlock it, I would bet that I could probably get enough people to warrant making it. Yeah. But one of the things that drives me crazy is that GameFound is such an amazing platform. They have so much, their HMI, like their GUI and everything is just so much better than Kickstarter's. But there's one thing that Kickstarter has that, as far as I can tell, now again, we haven't gotten to the Pledge Manager and all the features that they've added, but and as a creator, I can't even make my Pledge Manager yet. But the crazy part of it all is Kickstarter had what they called contingent goals or contingent add-ons. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that, you could quote unquote pledge almost like in the Pledge Manager, you could pledge for an add-on, but there was a certain number that had to be met. And so you didn't get charged unless that minimum order quantity or that minimum number was met inside the actual Kickstarter Pledge Manager or the actual Pledge Manager after the fact. And I think this is partly in BackerKit, if I'm not mistaken, because, of course, Kickstarter's not a Pledge Manager. I'm an idiot. But it's BackerKit that typically would have these contingent add-ons.
Yeah.
So what was great about it is that as a creator, you don't have to worry. You just say, oh, okay, I could throw anything out there at this point and just put the contingency numbers to be whatever. And if we meet it, hooray. If not, oh well.
Yeah.
But GameFound, as far as I know, and I am speaking out of turn because I have not made the Pledge Manager yet, but I would love to have the ability to have contingent add-ons, meaning something like the Pledge or the launch button would be like, okay, contingent upon 200 orders. This will become a reality and become, readily available for all the people who are quote unquote buying it. If you don't, if we don't meet the 200 by a certain date or whatever, then you don't get charged for it. It doesn't get made. So sorry, we all shed tears. So the whole point is that I don't have that ability right now. So my biggest issue is no matter what, if I do end up having to make it, because I want it too, damn it. If I do end up making it, it will be a part of every copy by default. Now, if it just seems so astronomical, which it probably will be, but if it does seem so astronomical, I might still offer it as an add-on, and maybe with enough response, I can make my money back on the mold alone, because the mold alone there's so many different pieces, it's got to be pressed. You got to add a spring to it. The whole. I mean, it's full on assembly with colored plastic that has to match. So I have big hopes and dreams for it. Right now, it's just very hard for me to commit unless we unlock it as a stretch
for sure.
goal.
Yeah, because there are a couple stretch goals like the fracture tokens, the bag, the acrylic tokens.
Yep.
There are a couple different ones out there that we're still. Some of them we're probably gonna get before.
I hope. I'm crossing my fingers. Yeah.
Right. So
come on, Minnesota Killjoy.
Put those pledges back in and stick with
it.
Exactly.
Well, if we can't get things like that and we can't get that launch button, what we should do is just go out to Staples and buy an easy button.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then when it's time to launch, we just smash it.
Amazon has launch buttons. I looked, and like it has like the little key that you turn and a green light turns on, then you hit the button.
Yes. Exactly.
Well, how much is that? I kind of
like
want
$10,
one.
$20.
All right, I want one just to dick around with. Honestly, I'll put that in the car.
So if we don't get a launch button, there are some good alternatives out there.
And the thing is I mean, I know there's some really nice looking ones out there, but I was also going to offer the idea that I might even open up like a little Etsy store or web store or something, and I could actually, design my own launch button, print it out in resin, have it, with the spray. I already bought springs for testing and all that. I could even go as far as selling them myself as an add-on, quote unquote, from Star Reach Games after the fact.
Only if we have you, like your voice going, launch!
Right. Exactly.
Oh, no. For him, I think it has to be something like, Fire missiles!
Right. That's awesome.
Was in take a nap.
But yeah, in terms of like the whole stretch goal, the contingent stretch goal or add-on thing, it makes me think of I forgot what company it is, but I think they make
GMT does it. They call it the P500.
Yeah, the 500. So that's exactly what I was thinking of when you mentioned.
I want to do the same thing. Yeah. I'm like, hey, GameFound, contingent add-ons, please.
Yeah, right.
I really, speaking of, by the way, just as a side note, I really do want to say a big shout out to GameFound. These guys, initially, I had some meetings with them. Everything went well, and I'd never had a bad word or anything like that. I was just semi-neutral for the most part. I was assigned an actual account manager, which, oh my God, that's huge leaps and bounds above Kickstarter. They don't care about you at all over there, I'll tell you. But the GameFound experience was pretty good. And then it went from pretty good to amazing almost overnight, because what they did is, and some of this was me also a little bit of poking and prodding, because clearly I'm an independent. I mean, obviously they're going to favor the guys that are going to have these mega campaigns. They're in money to make. They're in business to make money, just like anybody else, right?
Yeah,
they're gonna feature these mega campaigns that are going to pay off big dividends. So here I am, and one of the things that I went over to them is they did court me a little bit when I first went over to them. They were like, hey, your game is perfect for GameFound. This is the kind of game we want. You're gonna have much more success over here. And they really talked me up, and I believed all of it, and I still believe all of it. It was the perfect platform for me. But I will say a little bit into it, about a day or two into the campaign, they told me that when my countdown started, because I didn't have a countdown for a while, when my countdown started, I would be moved to the front page for upcoming. Well, I bent over backwards. I scrambled because I was like, oh, I need to be on the front page as soon as possible to gain followers. And I bent over backward, tried to get my countdown going. And I was like, oof, I got my countdown going. Oh, it started. And I would like refresh the front page. And I'm like, hey, not there. Still kind of You gotta
on,
dig pretty
guys?
deep for me. And of course, I was having flashbacks from last year from the
Yeah.
Kickstarter where I was buried at the very bottom. So this kind of went back and forth, and I sent a couple of emails, and I was like, kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like, hey guys, you kind of told me this, and I'm really I'm kind of dying out here. I'm an independent. Kind of showed me just a little bit of love.
Yeah.
And so they wrote me back, and they said, yeah, we're gonna do that for you. We're gonna get you on there. And I'm like, oh, great. Another day or two goes by. I'm like, I'm kind of dying here, guys. So I did finally send them. It was certainly not a complaint by any means. It was more of just like a really aggressive. What's the line from Sin City when they said, "Well, what are you going to do? Go and ask him?" And then the main character goes, "I asked pretty hard." So
It's one fine coat you got there.
So it's one of those things where clearly I was probably mildly aggressive in my request for them to make good on the promise they made to me. And when they did that, not only did it create huge dividends for me, because I can track, there's tons of analytics behind the scenes that show how many backers and followers I get from the featured platform, their banner across the top, all of these things. But when I put out update number 6 and their COO, and I don't mean Alex Radcliffe, who is their CMO, but their COO actually reached out in the comments, because I called them out in the comments and I said, hey, GameFound, you guys have been awesome. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for putting me in the active, like right here next to like Grim Coven and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm an independent. I'm nobody, and it's like they really not just treated me right, but then as soon as I wrote that update number 6, which is the second night of the campaign, they suddenly it was like a whole new world and a whole new relationship between me and them. And they seemed to suddenly have respect for what I was trying to accomplish. And of course, I said lots of very, very nice things about them, and I mean every word of it.
Yeah.
And so I think that they started realizing they did not just have like a wild viral campaign on their hands, but they actually had a true fan. And, particularly after all the mess I had with Kickstarter, I really will go to bat for anybody regarding GameFound. They have been absolutely amazing behind the scenes. And if you go right now on the page, I am featured, and I am not just featured, I am featured right there among Awaken Realms and CMON campaigns.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's incredible.
What independent publisher wouldn't ask for such an amazing opportunity, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That just reminds me of having a good director.
Absolutely.
One of my professors when I was at university, he was my director for a lot of the shows, and he would always butter everybody up. Like you could have the smallest, stupidest part where like you get one line. What's the line? Like, oh hey, I want a cheeseburger, and that's your entire thing. And you'd be like, why am I even here? And he'd be like, oh no, but you see, you set the scene, you do this, you're making this is your motivation. And he'd like build you up to this huge thing, and you'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then like Michael, you son of a bitch, that was like the dumbest thing ever, and you made that person believe they were the greatest thing in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to an independent, outfit. That's the kind of person you want in your corner.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, there's a lot of eyes on Seismic right now. Not necessarily for the backing of it. There's a lot of designers and publishers who are also independents who have reached out to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm literally hanging on your every word. I've never seen anything like this. You're going to be my blueprint for like the next time I go to crowdfunding." I mean. And that is the best compliment I could hope for. And of course, what's happening even from that is because I'm such a fan of GameFound realizes that. And now what's going to happen is a lot of things that I'm doing and a lot of things I'm talking about is going to end up probably yielding dividends for GameFound in the end, because there's all these designers who may or may not have ever thought GameFound might be a good platform for them. And they are going to probably migrate from Kickstarter over to GameFound with their own projects next, which is, of course, obviously the ultimate goal for GameFound.
Yeah.
And word of mouth is the best way to drum up business.
It is. 'Cause flattery will get you somewhere.
Exactly. It's not just one of those like, hey, I just paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for someone to see this little ad that I made. Now it's someone saying, no, I did this, and this is what happened for me. You should give it a shot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
It's just it's word of mouth spreads like wildfire.
Well, and that's why I really want to make a connection with every person. This is why I respond to literally every comment. This is why when somebody joins my Discord, I at least initially wave to them, with a little emoji like, hey, I recognize you're here. I know you're here. And as soon as they speak out, I'm going to write to them. I'm going to say, thank you so much for being here. Your time is valuable. Your input is appreciated. Your feedback is invaluable. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say. And even the people who are not backers, and I don't know if you've seen this in the comments at all, the people who are not even backers, who are, maybe they've decided that Seismic's not for them. I welcome them. I welcome them to participate in the comments. I talk about it. I talk about the game with them. And, just their participation is enough for me to go, holy cow, you are taking time out of your day to come over here, watch the campaign with all of us, even though you're not invested, but yet you're investing your time, your emotional investment, your ideas, your input, your feedback. All of those things are just as important to me as the pledge itself. And so I think that that's important to make a connection with everybody, and that's what I think that's what crowdfunding is about, right? That's what it used to be about anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there was a great conversation on the campaign comments. I think it was last night, maybe today, where someone was driving up by me. He's like, "Come on, everyone who's watching, how about you back? What's holding you back?" And some guy chimes in. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not a backer, but I really appreciate the transparency and the passion behind this." And he's like, "That's why I'm here." And it was just like a great back and forth between those two.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean the conversation. I mean, honestly, and I say this with full sincerity, I don't believe that there is another crowdfunding campaign out there that has as much positive, welcoming, warm comments and people anywhere than Seismic. I fully believe that. I am telling you, you cannot find a bad negative comment or bad word out there. Everybody is on the same wavelength. Everybody's excited and pumped. And again, you can be excited and you can be involved without being a backer. You can still appreciate what Seismic is just because of the way the campaign is going and all the positive vibes happening with it. It's just been great.
Hey, I think I've been shot.
I don't know if that went through the microphone, but that was one.
I did hear it.
Yeah.
I'm almost feeling like you guys are punking me, and you're really in Cloverfield, King Cloverfield Lane, and there's aliens up above, and John Goodman's about to walk into frame.
That movie is amazing, by the way.
I love that movie.
Oh my god!
You can't go outside.
Anyway,
so I do have a movie question for you. We're going to end with that.
Oh, great. I love it.
Yes.
I'm a huge movie buff.
I know. And I know you have things to say about this one, so I'm excited to hear about it.
Yes, I'm he showed me this last one. Really? We're going to do this?
We are.
He's like, oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
So first, though, before we get to that question, I have two questions left. This one is I listened to half of the Meeple Dungeon interview with you.
Oh, yeah, those guys are amazing.
They're great.
They're so nice.
I had to turn it off, and then when I turned it back on, it restarted from the beginning. So I never got to listen to the second half. But you teased a game.
You got that far.
And it's so good. It's such a good idea. I'm so
I need to
excited.
learn to talk less.
So PJ did tell me about this, and I was like, oh my god, this sounds awesome!
So for people who haven't listened to it, it's called Vitals. Could you
Yes.
elaborate a little bit?
Oh my gosh, I love talking about it.
I'm glad you brought it up because I need this in my life.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of such an idea.
What? I mean, I need vitals too. It's how we live. But...
I was going to open this question up by saying, I was thinking about this game where you're rolling dice and you're in an operating room.
By the way, before I do talk about it, I will say that I thought the idea was good enough to actually go and make a BGG listing. So it is actually on Board Game Geek right now with my name as the designer on it. I don't have art yet,
I'll be there day one if it goes through.
Go press like on it. It'll be amazing.
Okay, I'll do that.
But
Continue.
He's doing it right now.
So the idea kind of came to me because I'm a huge fan. I don't know if you guys ever played. I think we've actually talked about this on one of the other episodes. I am a huge fan of Captain Sonar.
Yes.
I love Captain Sonar. It's an amazingly thematic game. For those of you who've never played it, just in a nutshell, Captain Sonar is basically real-time battleship, real-time team-based battleship. It
Yes.
there you go.
This is the target version, the 4-player version.
right.
I actually
So-
have both. I have the target version. I have the full version.
If you go back through our episodes, there is an episode where we reviewed this version of Sonar, and we actually put in clips of us playing. It is a drunk PJ.
There's one time where I am on top of Dan, and he's like, I move south. I move south. I move west. I move west. And he's like, wait, what?
Like, wait a second. That son of a bitch is right on top of me.
That is awesome.
We also did some stints where we played together. When we played together, we were awesome. When we were apart with different teammates, we both sucked.
You're terrible, right?
So
my
bad.
friend JB, who's done a few episodes with us, he's like, I'm never playing this guy. I'm never being your partner again. You suck. But I'm with PJ and we are awesome.
Let me tell you, I have Captain Sonar. Anytime I have 8 players at the house, I set up Captain Sonar as one of the first things, and every time. And let me tell you, I have a very thick-skinned game group, and let me tell you, even with that, there are if the teams don't get matched up really well, oh man, hurt feelings at the table.
Yes.
You're the worst radio operator. What is wrong with you? It's like, oh man, it's just so bad. And I mean, people are screaming at each other, and it's just
It's like when we took it to Helix.
Oh my god.
And they were playing, like, where the hell are you? What are you doing? Why are you
took it-
over there?
We took it to Helix, and we were on a team, and I wouldn't say we cleaned up, but I mean, we were perfectly in sync.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't hurt that we've known each other for 25 years now.
Yeah.
And
course.
I told, when I introduced my buddy JB to PJ, he's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to like that. I'm like, JB, he's me. But half British. That's the only difference. And he meets him, he's like, holy shit, he is you.
So, back to
That is
Vitals.
awesome.
Back to Vitals, yes.
Yes, Vitals. Let's talk about Vitals. I know we're going to make this episode overly long again.
Wait, why not?
Always, always.
As long as we're not leaving here at 2:00 in the morning.
Like
Yes,
last time.
yes, better than last time. Yeah.
Hey, I don't have to work
So-
tomorrow, so I don't care.
I care.
So,
proud of me.
Vitals kind of, Vitals kind of came to me because I played. Of course, I love Captain Sonar. I love real-time games, so I like Fuse. I don't know if you've ever played Fuse.
haven't
Fuse
played
has
Fuse.
like frantic, just crazy dice rolling. Everybody at the table. It's a co-op game, which I'm not always a co-op fan, but so Fuse was very simple, and it's literally just throwing dice as fast as you can. There is no
jeez.
stop. And you're trying to match symbols, and I thought, man, they really they're missing out here. This is like barely a game, but this mechanic is intense, and I was like, it reminds me of the intensity of like Captain Sonar, and Captain Sonar is like a real game, but with the intensity.
Because this
So
other
I'm
one
like-
is a fake game.
So, and then I thought about, I had the idea rattling around in my head, and I thought, that would be pretty wild. And then what happened is I played a game called Flatline. These are all in my collection, by the way. Flatline is a weird dice rolling, somewhat real-time dice rolling game. It's real-time, but for 30 seconds or something, and then it's like worker placement. It's very bizarre.
Huh,
but
that's
anyway...
odd.
The theme, I got it because I was like, oh, and I've always said this. I told you guys this before. If I ever found a game like Seismic that scratched the itch, I wouldn't finish Seismic because I'm like, oh, somebody already made it.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Flatline. Yeah, so I bought Flatline at a garage sale, kind of like a swap meet for board games, and I was like, oh, okay, here's a medical themed game where you roll dice and you match symbols to try to achieve these goals. I got it. We played it, and I was like. eh, and it was okay. It's just eh, and the theme is
Dying
horrible.
giraffe.
The theme is just it's not really there. So
Sorry.
Making the sound of a dying giraffe here.
dry
So was it one of those things where you saw it, you're
God
like,
dog, sheet, God dog.
He gets the reference.
yes. So was this one of those games you picked up? You're like, I can totally make this better.
Yes, and that's kind of what happened. And so here's another the final evolution of Vitals happened when a friend of mine bought my, I think it was I think it was my wife's friend. They were at Walmart and they bought a game called Tapple. Have you guys ever played Tapple?
I've seen it
I
on
haven't
the
even
shelf.
heard of this.
It's a silly like Milton Bradley, Hasbro, Walmart type game.
Okay.
And it's what it is. The Tapple has a big button right in the middle, and then on the outer edge are a bunch of it's not completely linear alphabetic letters. There's various letters missing, but for the most part, I think there's 20 things around the outer edge. You get a clue, and in real time, the button has a 5-second countdown, and you have to, when it comes to you have to have a clue, like say fruit, and you go strawberry, and then you hit S. And then and you hit the button in the middle, and then the next person, now you can't use S anymore, and so now the next person says banana, and they hit B, and then they hit the button in the middle, and it resets. If the button times out on your turn, you're out, and so then it continues around the table until basically it's kind of like a musical chairs. There's one man, they win. It's very, very, very simple concept. But I really liked the idea of everybody having a universal button that they kind of have to smash. So I kept thinking to myself, okay, how could this again is like barely a game. There's more to this. I can work with this. So I took the idea of like a fuse, flatline, real-time dice rolling, took the button kind of from Tapple, and then I was like, I really want to make another highly thematic game. Even though this time I'm starting with mechanics, which is kind of different. I always had the idea of like, oh, can I make this work in a really wild, intense way? So in Captain Sonar, you are at some point during the game, you are drawing in a path around the shape of the submarine so that you can kind of move on and get your sub diving again. So I thought, okay, what it has that level of intensity? So it's like a trauma room scenario where you and all these people are standing around a table. You have 2 boards. The boards are locked together. Very large boards, and it's in the shape of a human being. So you think of like a full-size version of Operation.
Yeah. When PJ told this to me, I was like, holy shit, this is like intense Operation.
Yes, it's super intense Operation. So everybody has a role. Everybody has a very, very specific role and their own set of dice. But the person keeping the actual patient alive, the person who is in charge of the vitals, is always short 1 die.
Oh.
So everybody else at the table has their own tasks that they're trying to do, but when they've met their goal, they roll dice and they're trying to meet the symbols on a particular task that they're doing that is specific to them. As soon as they place all those, they now have a separate die that is also in front of them that matches the die of the person who is in charge of the vitals. So the person who's in charge of the vitals is constantly rolling to meet the die values that they need, but they're always short 1. When the other person matches theirs, they hit the button in the middle, and the button in the middle is basically what is keeping the heartbeat of the patient alive. So you have 10 seconds to press that button.
Oh, jeez.
They flatline, and if they flatline, everybody at the table stops what they're doing, and there's a set of dice that are all black dice. One side has a heartbeat on it, a red heartbeat on it, and everybody has to stop what they're doing, grab one of those dice, depending on player count, because it plays up to 6. They grab one of those dice, and they start frantically rolling it until they get that particular side, place it on the table, and if all the players get that die in the location on the patient, then anybody, whoever places that last die, can hit the button, and the patient comes alive again, and then the game immediately, without stopping, goes right back to what you were doing, and you got another 10 seconds to meet the goals. So everybody at the table, so the person having the instruments has the instruments in, and they look like a forceps or a scalpel or whatever, but in the end, there's a dry erase marker.
Oh, that's so cool.
You're holding a scalpel, but instead of a blade, there's a dry erase marker. And when you the doctor who's at the head of the table, he flips over a card and he doesn't know what the operation is that everybody's doing. The whole game is only about 5 minutes, okay? So he doesn't know what the operation is. So he flips over a card and it shows, oh crap, this guy has got a tumor. We got to take it out. So he over the card, and it's going to show where on the character that it's like point to where you hurt. So he's got a card. So on that card, there's going to be a bunch of pieces of cardboard that kind of covers various parts. And you take that piece of cardboard off, and now he says, okay, I need to do this. And remember, all the while, the person who is keeping check of the vitals still needs somebody at the table to roll that last die that they need. So everybody is frantic all the time. So the doctor says, okay, I need a scalpel. I need a scalpel. And the other person at the end of the table is like, oh, okay, hold on. Okay. And the scalpel has like a set of icons. They start rolling like crazy. And in the meantime, the doctor is like, well, I'm going to roll to help the vitals person get that. And at the same time, people are reaching and hitting the button to keep the guy alive. And then finally the person, like, they get their scalpel and they're like, okay, I got it. Okay, I can hand the scalpel to the doctor. And the doctor's like, okay, great. He takes the scalpel and now he has to draw and cut the patient open, and he has to draw all the way around. And if he gets out of the line, he has to turn the scalpel over and erase it because he's messed up, and he has to like go and do it again.
Stitches.
Yeah. So all of this, and then he flips over another card, and now there's going to be something else you have to do with a dry erase marker. And so if it's like forceps or something, you have to take, like, this one has a red marker in it. Now he's bleeding, and you've got to clamp it, and you scribble in red with the forceps, and you got to hand these back to the person with the instruments. Now they're dirty, so they have to be like rolled again to make sure they're available. And so all of this, everybody at the table, this is going on nonstop. And of course, in the middle of it all, the patient can flatline because somebody got a bad roll and they couldn't meet their goal. And it's just, the whole thing is an insane 5 to 7 minutes or so of the utmost, and think of the highest level of intensity of Captain Sonar, and that's what Vitals is, shoved into about 5 to 7 minutes.
And then you add in like a really bad game of Yahtzee.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, that is Vitals in a nutshell. We've already tested it multiple times. Nothing obviously near final enough to show. I basically made my own dice, and I've got some really, really archaic, rough graphics that I did. And I basically have all the rules already laid out. I mean, the game, honestly, if my heart didn't belong to Seismic, I could probably have Vitals ready for production, I would bet you, within 3 months. I mean, it's that far along.
Wow. So just the way you're describing it, it reminds me of a game that I've played called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Have you heard of this?
Yes. I know that one. It's on PC. I played on Steam. Yeah.
So I do have it for my VR.
It's great on the VR. Yeah,
it is. PJ, did you ever play that with me?
I've never played it.
It's amazing.
I know I've played it over the phone with somebody. I can't remember who it was, but all you have to do is make sure that they have. If
it's
they're
like
the
somebody
one,
else is reading a manual to you and telling
like
you
they're
what
like
to do.
you because you've got the headset on, you can't see what the hell is going on, you don't know what's happening. They're just like, okay, what do you see? Like, shit, it's a fucking bomb. Okay, well, what does it have? These are the kinds of wires. Okay, is it this color and this color? Yes. Okay, take a look at the. I was gonna say VIN number. That's not right. Take a look at the model number. Does it end with this letter and this number? Like, yes. Okay, then you got to flip to the page. Like, oh well. Okay, this is the wire you cut. You're like, now what?
It is amazing. It is so well
fun.
Done. So fun.
I watched a Let's Play where it was professional bomb disposal.
Oh wow!
Play that game, and some of the easy ones, they're like, so what do you got? Oh, I got this. And the guy's like, flip, 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 flip. Yeah, cut this wire. Click, you're done. And, and like the guys that were recording are like, serious? He's like, yeah. Like, dude, we do this for a living. Like, we'll get to the harder ones. And he was like, all right. They did a harder one. They're like, yeah, we did it in like half the time. What's next?
That is amazing. That is awesome.
So I think we're down to our final question. I know you've been dying to ask this one, PJ.
You can take it.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right, so what was it, 2 weeks ago? A week ago now, right?
Was it just a week ago? Yeah, a week and a half ago.
About
Anyways.
a week and a half ago, a trailer dropped for one of our favorite franchises.
One of your favorite franchises.
And one of your favorites.
Okay.
We now have
I know what it is. I know what it is.
Alien Romulus.
Yes.
What do you
Yes.
think?
I am excited and reserved.
Yes.
I call it cautiously optimistic.
Yes, absolutely. So the very first thing I will say, because I can talk about this for hours too. I love the franchise. It really is the whole Alien franchise, and particularly Aliens. I mean, my God.
Oh yeah, you know,
mean,
that was
the
the
guy's a
first
genius.
one I ever watched. I was unaware of Ridley Scott's masterpiece Alien.
Yes. Right.
Until I was probably like 12 or 13, and then I watched it. I was like, oh, and then I made PJ watch it.
It's so, man, the particularly Aliens is so quotable. My God, you could just,
God.
I mean,
Game
you
over,
could just
man.
you could make a poster of just the most famous quotes, and
Absolutely.
in fact, just yesterday, somebody was saying something. And I was like, and I even mentioned in one of the other comments, because I like to use it on people all the time. I'm like, hey, Vasquez, anybody ever mistake you for a man?
No.
Have
How about
you?
you?
Have you ever mistaken for me? And it's like, oh, I love that line. It's like the coldest burn at the time, I love that. So,
such a great film.
it's just, man, the mood and the atmosphere. And
So real quick, and about that entire franchise, even that horrible fourth film, which I will watch Alien 3 again before I sit down and watch Alien
I will watch
Resurrection.
Alien
Willfully.
3. Alien 3 is not good, but it's it's like pizza. It's like even bad pizza is still pizza. So
yeah.
it's kind of
Like it's still like, yeah, I'll eat it anyway.
I'll watch Alien 3 before a lot of other stuff.
But the thing that gets me in the world of Hollywood, and this has been happening for like the last almost 10 years now, is everybody's going on about like, we need girl power, and there hasn't been a strong female lead. And I just want to stop and go, have you you guys forgotten about Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah. Have you met Sigourney?
Like,
so I talk about this all the time.
You see her in Alien, where she is the uppity one. She's a bitch. Nobody in the crew likes her. She's the only survivor. And then you see Aliens, and she becomes maternal, because in the deleted scenes you find out she had a daughter and she lost her. And she's like, that's just super badass bitch. Don't fuck with mom.
That's right.
And then you get into Alien 3, and you see the ultimate sacrifice she makes. Like, through every film, she is the ultimate badass. Not even just like a great role model for women, but even guys are going, fuck yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like, she kicks ass.
Like, man, I want her on my soccer team when I go to Spain. Exactly. It's like, first pick right there, I'm with you. But yeah, so one of the things, by the way, before I even talk about that trailer, because the trailer really, I, like you say, cautiously optimistic. I am excited. It does look good. I'm mildly worried, only because it looks heavier on the horror than the action, because Aliens is an action horror.
Yes.
Alien was just a straight out sci-fi horror.
Right. Yeah. Alien was Jaws, and this is how they
Jaws
in space.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I prefer the action horror element of Aliens, and even Alien 3 is still action-ish, even though, again, it's more of a callback to the first one.
It is, but it's also more action-oriented than the first one. The first one was a very, very slow burn. Like, they almost took Jaws beat for beat.
Yes,
when it came to that first film, and they set up everything, and they even said in those things where you're like with Ash being an android, like, whoa,
right?
I didn't see that one coming.
You know, I the thing is, what I'm most, and man, this every time I talk about it, I get really upset. I'm so mad about Neil Blomkamp and his. I don't know if you read about that. Yeah, I see it on your face. The thing is it just makes me so mad because what happened is I'm a huge Neil Blomkamp fan. Okay, I really like his work. I thought District 9 was one of the best movies ever made. It's in my top 10 of all time. I absolutely love it. And then I actually really like, and I know I'm an outlier in this. I loved Elysium.
I knew you were going to say that. I saw that in theaters with my ex-wife, and I looked at her and I went, "That was incredible," and she was like,
"Yes."
Well, it was good. I'm like, "Go away. You don't know what you're talking about."
It just floors me how certain movies, like I think that movie is near flawless. I love so much about it, and yet it did not land with audiences.
No,
and then Chappie, same thing with Chappie. I like Chappie a lot, and I'm like, this movie is great. Like this is what Hollywood is all about, right?
And then they took Halo from him.
Oh, that makes me so mad because I think he would have done
franchise.
He would have done a much better job.
And then, he says, okay, he's done his stuff and he's had it, he had some bombs that didn't work out, even though, again, I'm a huge fan of his other two movies past District 9. I want District 10, which there is talk of it finally. But he's just now starting to kind of, there's little rumblings about it. Yeah. But the biggest problem is, they took Halo from him. He was clearly a fan, and he was clearly the right guy. I mean, God, that short film he did was amazing.
The shorts are amazing.
And I think that's the problem. They saw what he did, they saw what he could do, and they said, well, this is what you've done, but we can find someone to make it better.
I know.
And
they cheaper. It was all about money.
And they couldn't. They clearly couldn't.
Yeah.
And if they would have stuck with that, I don't care how much money they would have lost on it. They would have made that money back so
Oh my
fast.
Gosh. Absolutely.
So fast because not only do you already have this massive franchise that has a huge following. This isn't like a little cult classic. I mean, this is
especially this was back at this was Halo 3. This was 2007 when he had the rights to it.
You still this thing was massive.
Yes.
Worldwide phenomenon. You already had that huge base. You already had things like people were bringing out toys and everything. McFarlane Toys was doing the 12-inch, super detailed Master Chief and stuff. You had
Peter
all of
Jackson was attached to it too.
Yes, you already had all of this stuff laid in, the groundwork that all they had to do was go, well, we start producing this, and we already have the groundwork for merchandise. All we have to do is just kick it into high gear, and we're going to literally be printing money. Like, they could have done exactly what George Lucas did, but were smarter than Fox and said, we want this much percentage of the merchandise.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just it's heartbreaking. And of course, even more to me is when he finally came out later, recently, and again recently within the last 3 years or so, when he said he wanted to do an actual RoboCop sequel, which never got greenlit. And then, of course, Paul Verhoeven. Oh my gosh, that guy's he was such an amazing director, like for the '80s, particularly like all the. Anyway, and then Blomkamp says, "Okay, I can't get the RoboCop license, and all that. I want to do a direct sequel to Aliens because he's a huge James Cameron fan himself.
Yeah.
He knew what Aliens was. He knows the vibe, and you can tell when you watch like District 9 and Chappie and Elysium. He gets that like industrial sci-fi, like lived in, like authentic, like world building. Like he gets it. And I'm just like, that's who we want at the helm of this. And he had that he put out like concept art, and he had Hicks, and he was good, Michael Biehn
Hicks with the burned
and he's got
face
the
and everything.
Acid burned face. His lip was all like toward it, grown together, and Ripley is like older but like still like cut and ripped, and it was just like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing.
And he was working. Was out there.
And an older Michael Biehn would have been awesome.
And then Ridley Scott walks into the studio and goes, nope, X, and says, I've got a better idea. I'm going to do Prometheus. It's like, what? It's like Prometheus is fine. Okay, it's a fine movie. It's not an Aliens movie.
Right, and I like Prometheus.
I do.
I like it being in the same universe. Cool.
I do too. I even really like the newest one. That's all about the android situation, not even about aliens at all.
Covenant.
Yeah.
So
Covenant. Yeah.
I went and saw Covenant in theaters, and I was like, okay, we're getting back in the right direction.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
I felt the same way.
I liked it so much I saw it twice. I was like, yeah.
Me too.
Give me more.
I like it a lot. I will still tell you, I will burn all the celluloid from the Prometheus franchise in a fire if I can get Neil Blomkamp to give me a direct sequel to Aliens. Okay?
I mean,
and I do like those films a lot, but man, I am telling you, my dream movie at this point for this year, this era of movie making, would have absolutely been Neil Blomkamp's direct sequel.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you go back and watch all of those. He had all those storyboards and he had all kinds of all the whole script was basically written, and it literally starts almost like to the moment the old one ends, and it's like, oh, here's Sigourney, and it's like 50 years later in space, and it's like,
yep.
I'm like, oh my God, where is this movie?
That'd be awesome.
I'm going to tell AI to make it, and I'm going to watch it tomorrow.
There you go. So the one thing that does have me excited on this is we do have Ridley Scott coming back, but as a producer.
Yes. And obviously Ridley Scott was the originator, okay? And clearly, we've also got Giger. The artist.
If
okay?
it weren't for him, I don't think that franchise would have been even remotely as successful.
Absolutely. I mean, using it, is it Giger? I've heard it both ways.
Giger.
I thought it was Giger, but because I used to say Geiger growing up, and then I realized apparently no, it's apparently Giger. So I've changed my pronunciation of it. But clearly Ridley Scott was making a good movie, but you're right. I don't think it would have been successful without the monster design, without the alien design.
So do you know how that relationship began, or how that came about?
No,
I don't. He was working on the Dino De Laurentiis version of Dune.
Yes.
And a lot of the stuff that you actually see in the concept art was originally the stuff they were going to do for Dune. So those grotesque looking temples and everything that you see in the concept art, that was going to be made for Dune until it got scrapped.
Wow.
And
see that as like Harkonnen stuff.
Right there. That's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the Harkonnen stuff. And
it's Harkonnen.
Yes, not Harkonnen. I'm sorry. Like we watched the first movie, the first new version of the film, and then we watched the second one, part 2, in theaters together. And I was like, I can't find. I fucking can't.
It's like everybody in the first movie was sitting there, and the first time that they say Harkonnen out loud, it's like the entire collective audience goes,
like, what the fuck was that?
That's not how you say that.
You can hear a cringe.
Yes. I do prefer Harkonnen as well. I've always said Harkonnen.
It flows better off the tongue. It sounds better. Like they're supposed to be harsh, and Harkonnen sounds harsh.
Yes,
not this Harkonnen's like, all right.
What do you think, Binks?
I think Binks is just happy because he's being held.
But coming back full circle to the trailer, okay?
Right.
Yes. I really, again, cautiously optimistic. I can't think of a better phrase for it.
Yeah.
I am hopeful. I do think that they've captured the look, and I'm excited about that. I do think some of it is a bit gratuitous. They had the motion sensor sound in the trailer, and some of that I'm like, come on, guys, don't play the motion sensor sound without a motion sensor on the screen. Right. There's certain things that they're doing as a little bit of fan service.
Yeah.
So I do worry slightly that it's going to be Disney-fied, and what I mean by that is like, they're going to have too much fan service thrown in.
A lot of member berries.
Yes, it's all the member berries. That's right. So the thing is I'm worried a little bit about that. And I don't know whether they did it just for the sake of the trailer, or if they really are going to go, like full solo, Star Wars movie where literally every damn line in the movie is all about like, oh, where'd you get to? Oh, you're Solo? Okay, I'll call you Han Solo.
I really hope not. So the one thing that does have me excited about it is it's Fede Alvarez who is directing.
Yes, all the respect. Yes,
he did fantastic work when he remade Evil Dead.
Yes, that's
So,
what gives me hope.
I saw Evil Dead. So I grew up watching Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Sure.
But like PJ, my first one was Army of Darkness. Fell in love with
yeah.
that.
Oh,
from
of
there,
course,
and
yeah.
then went back and was like, oh yeah. And Fede Alvarez brought this
He bit me.
visceralness that you can see Sam Raimi really wanted to, and
Right.
the cat bit her. But you can see he brought that visceralness that he wanted, but he just couldn't. He didn't have he didn't have the funds.
Right.
The ability. He didn't have the backing to do it. I saw that movie while it was still in theaters, when it was going in the dollar theaters in Los Angeles. And my buddy Yeet and I went out and we watched it. And when I saw it in theaters, I was like, oh. And then I watched it again. I was like, yes. And then there's like one or two parts that I still go, oh. It's particularly the one where she takes the glass and she splits her tongue, and I'm still going, oh, I can't do that.
Yep.
Everything else, I'm like, no, I can do this.
Yeah.
Yep, can't do it.
That's just
I'm with you.
that's still the one thing, because I remember I was watching it and I'm like laughing the second time I'm watching it, because I'm like, I know what's gonna happen, and it gets to that part and I'm like, nope. Nope, still can't do this.
Right. So yes, to answer your question, come full circle. Yes, I am cautiously optimistic about the trailer.
Yeah.
I am hopeful because of Fede Alvarez involved, and I'm just I really want it to be good. I'm slightly
Me
worried.
too.
But yes, I mean, I'm just excited to have another one at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see where they go with it.
I remember we watched AVP in the theaters.
Oh god.
And
AVP.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't.
AVP, can you use that in a
Great.
sentence? I don't know what that is.
Whoever wins, the audience lost.
Right?
I really wanted to like it. I wanted it to be good.
Right.
Lance Henriksen came back as Bishop Wayland. I was so happy about that.
I know.
And
I
was
know.
like, oh my god, why?
All the props to Lance Henriksen. I thought that gave it an air of credibility, but I was like, ugh.
And it did, and it was like just that very thin air of credibility that it needed.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we had Paul W.S. Anderson, who, in my opinion, the only two good movies he did outside of that were the original Resident Evil film.
Original.
And
That is the
Mortal
only one.
Kombat.
And the first Mortal Kombat film.
Yeah.
Those were the only two other films. Those were the only two films. Come on. That Mortal Kombat was so cheesy but fun as hell.
I could dip a chip in that movie and be okay.
Exactly.
That movie is cheese on a disc.
What's more iconic than seeing Kerry Takagawa hold up a kid's head and say, "Your soul is mine"? Like, even as a kid watching that, I was like, God, that's creepy. Now I watch it and go, God, I love it.
That is awesome.
Like, come on.
I do love it.
But but the thing that made me mad about AVP was Dark Horse had been making AVP comics and AVP stories since 1988, 89.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And they couldn't choose one of those damn stories.
I know. I don't know where these writers in Hollywood come from. I have no idea anymore.
Well, one of the biggest things that failed them was they wanted to do it as a PG-13 movie to get more audience.
Yeah, it's all about the dollar and not the passion. Yeah.
Now tell me, how smart is it to take two iconic horror movie creatures that belong in R-rated franchises,
that came from R-rated franchises,
mash them together and say, "Oh yeah, it's PG-13."
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, you could print money with a true Aliens versus Predator movie. Okay, I mean, if you really did it,
absolutely.
I mean, just the little nod they did at the end of Predator 2, when
the alien skull in the ship?
Glover, yeah.
Yes!
When he did the ship, and it's just that little nod of it's on screen for just a couple seconds, and you're just like, what was that? Was that?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God,
And the best, I say the best thing that has come out of that entire franchise. So when it comes to Predator 2.
Yep.
Anything else after that is crap until you get to Prey.
Yeah.
That
Prey
movie
was good.
was awesome.
Prey was good.
Yes, Prey was good. By the way, I have a soft spot for
Predators.
which one? Not the most recent one. That was not good.
Oh no.
The
That was
where they go
the
to-
Predator.
Yeah. Predators,
Okay, the
where
Predator.
they go
Yeah,
to the planet.
Predators is when they get all the serial killer people.
Yeah.
get taken
Okay,
to the-
so here's the one thing that
I have a soft spot for that movie.
Me too.
that I liked it, but here's the one thing that pulled me out
It's
of
not
that one.
great. I admit that it's not great, but go ahead.
Topher Grace as a badass.
Oh man, he was so awesome. That's why I have such a soft spot for it. You just wonder, like, why is he among all these like horrible people?
He's like,
And
oh yeah.
then when the reveal happens, you're
You
like,
know,
oh,
I was a combat medic. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that from Topher Grace. Then he's like,
Yeah.
he a serial killer, and you're like, go back to Wisconsin, Eric. Get Red out here to
do have
put
a
his
soft
foot up
spot.
your ass.
The theme, the idea, like the actual synopsis for that movie was so awesome. Like,
Oh,
oh my
yeah.
God,
Yeah.
what a great idea, right? You know, instead of them coming to hunt people on Earth, let's just take Earth's most badass people we can find and just send them all to the Predator planet and just see how long they can make it. I
Now-
thought the idea of that was freaking awesome.
I will say though,
Oh.
one of my favorite scenes from that entire film has to be with the Japanese guy,
The samurai.
He's not a
Oh,
samurai.
Well, not a samurai, but
He's,
like they film it like a samurai.
yeah, they
fight
they
scene.
film it. They
Yes.
film it like a samurai showdown.
Yes.
The Yakuza. He's Yakuza.
Yes, yeah.
And he finds the katana, and they run and start slashing each other. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, go on.
There's some good beats in that one.
Absolutely,
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not good, but it's like, man, it was so close to greatness. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's like the marathon runner that trips right before the finish
Ah,
line. It's the way I
yes.
feel like that movie is. You know, it's like you were so close.
Like I will always put that movie above The Predator, but Prey
Oh,
definitely is better than both of those.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm sorry, I can't even.
No, we don't talk about the Predator.
I can't.
We don't.
And what was really disappointing about that was Shane Black.
I know. God, it's
I
like
love
we can
this.
always rely on him.
Everybody
His
else
rating
around
is
us right
great.
now, everyone else around us right now is like, shut up, just shut the fuck up.
Listen, I just want you to know, according to Facebook, Seismic is live on GameFound right now. I don't know if you've heard.
Hey, who gave you that ad?
I don't know.
Actually, that's one of my questions.
It looks kind of cool though.
We totally forgot a very important question.
Oh, hey, that's right. I made a game. That's right. That's the whole reason I'm here.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. I'm sorry, huge tangent, but it's necessary.
I could, man. Let me tell you, as much as I'm a gamer, I am just as big a movie buff. I can
Yeah.
show you
Oh, yeah.
writers, directors, actors, like plots and unmade movies and movies that were made that'll never be seen, and
Yeah.
director's cuts and the differences between. Like, I'm huge movie buff. I love it. I watch almost every major release movie and then some whenever they come out. There's so many great movies that are like so unsung. It's like,
Absolutely.
I could just start listing just hundreds and hundreds. By the way, I gotta leave one movie that you have to go watch, because I guarantee you this is so obscure you may have never seen this. There is a movie that I love so much because it is so cheaply made, but not in a bad way, not at all.
Okay.
It is so good, and the idea is great. Okay, it's on Netflix. The movie's called Triangle. Have you ever heard
We have two other people who are listening in behind the camera right now, and
Oh,
they
God.
immediately go,
Oh, goodness. I saw that movie. I saw that movie like when it popped up on whatever stream. I think it was Netflix. I saw that movie right when it came out. I didn't know anything about it. It was one of those like early on in Netflix when they didn't have like 10 billion things to choose from.
Right.
It was just like, what is this wacky movie? And at the time I was kind of like watching a few indies, here and there. And I was like, what is this? Some weird ghost ship ripoff? What is this nonsense? And I watched it, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And by the time like you get near the end of the movie, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was like, oh, I got to tell everybody I know about this movie. And every time I tell people about it, they're just like, what? And I'm like, no, you got to watch it. It's amazing. I tell everybody, you got to watch Triangle.
Look that up.
I'm gonna have to ask JB about this because he loves that kind of stuff. Like, he loves watching B or lower movies, and he's like, "We gotta watch this movie. We gotta watch this movie." Like the one that we got,
so good.
The one that we watched, this was a while ago, was called The Trooper, and I went, "What?" And it was released under a different name in the United States. I forget what it's like. It's like Blood Cabin or something like that. And we watched it, and we're just laughing our asses off the entire time because like this one character is like, these kids are going into this abandoned house. He's like, "Don't go in there. The trooper will get you." And you're like, "What?" And then somebody, this is like the 70s, so teenagers go in and they're like, "Haha, we're gonna do this," and like this guy in this black mask just fucking kills him. And the guy comes back and goes, "Why'd you do it? I told you the trooper was gonna get you." And like to pad out this whole movie, which is only supposed to be like a half an hour long, the guy filmed his at the time wife and kids at this fair, like this local fair, and they put in all this exposition and like, "Oh, this is what they're doing at the fair," and all this. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And JB's like, "Yeah, dude, he put this in there so we could get it as a theatrical release." I'm like, really?
Oh, God.
Really?
Wow.
Like, and it comes in just under the wire to be a full-length film, just because of that
God.
scene.
So there's two other movies that I always recommend. These are slightly less obscure. You probably will know at least one of these. Overlord. I have such a fond. Oh, this is.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to so bad.
Familiar.
It's so good. It's so good. It's from
it.
about 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was just they did it just before I came back from Los Angeles.
It's really, really good. Like really good. Like this should have been like a mega hit at the theater. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it was. That should have been a mega hit.
Was that an A24?
I think it was an A24.
It was either A24 or Blumhouse. It was like before that company got big. I think it was A24.
It may have been, yeah. And then the other movie that I really recommend that again is you can find it pretty regularly and it's reasonable out there is Upgrade.
Oh,
yes.
Upgrade.
Yes.
Upgrade is so good. It's
so
good.
ridiculous.
Upgrade, I think, was the template for Venom because the movies are nearly identical. Like the way that the movies are made. Because the whole thing is talking to him in his mind. He's having conversations with himself. The thing, his upgraded parts take over for him. He becomes like a super badass, starts tearing up people, and everybody wants him. And he's fighting the equipment and all this other. I'm like, this is like when I went to the movies to see Venom, I was like, this is Upgrade. This is freaking Upgrade. They ripped off Upgrade.
This is Upgrade with a Marvel character. What the hell?
Yeah, but I'm like, this is like Upgrade. So anyway, I really, really, I always recommend Upgrade particularly if you like the Venom, the Venom kind of style and vibe.
Yeah,
it's very similar, and I love the ending for that one too. It's such a good one. But anyway, yeah. Again, I could sit here and recommend movies all day.
All right, PJ, let's get to your final question here.
No, that was the final question.
Do you wanted to ask about the ads?
Oh, yeah. The first time we ever talked, I was looking up Overlord too because I think
he forgot. He was like, "No, now I know this name. Let me take a look."
Is this the movie where like one of the villains had like a propeller head or something?
I don't remember that.
Okay, that was a different one then. Where like because they sued a video game because it had like the same exact character as like a boss you had to run away from. But I thought that was it because it was like a horror World War II movie.
Possible, but I don't remember that. Yeah. But it is possible. I haven't seen it in a while, but I love the movie. I need to watch it again.
Yeah. So we'll finish up. You mentioned Targeted Ads. The first time we ever talked a year ago. I said that I found you because of an ad, and that I was literally the target demographic for the game. Like, that's how targeted the ads were. So what?
I actually sent one to your social feed with your name on the back of the ad. If you flipped the ad over, it would have had your name on.
So, like, what do you like? How does one program a targeted ad to, like, how's that work? What's the backside of that?
So, in a nutshell, I ran ads on Reddit. I ran ads on the Meta platform, which of course is both Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I early on the Kickstarter campaign, I ran ads on Twitter, because I'm not going to call it X.
Oh yeah,
no,
don't do that.
No. It's the platform formerly known as Twitter. We're gonna be classy and we're gonna steal Prince's act. Okay,
That's right.
Exactly. But anyway, I ran a lot of different ads in various places. Obviously, the one that seems to be the best bang for your buck is, for at least me anyway, was Facebook and Instagram. What's weird to me too is that I find that board gamers don't have Facebook and Instagram that much, so it's weird. Yeah, see, exactly. So it's kind of weird that that's where you seem to get the most traction. I really don't use Facebook myself hardly anymore, just because I just don't. If I got something to say, I'm going to say it to the person.
Right.
I don't ever feel like I need a megaphone of the world.
Yeah.
So I use the targeted ads, but on the back side, what you actually get to see is when you create your ad, you create a campaign first. And the campaign, of course, in this case, we'll just call it Seismic.
Yeah.
And then you have an ad group. And an ad group is a collection of ads within a certain topic, again, a subtopic of your main one. So let's call it Campaign Seismic ad group pre-campaign follow. So those ads, I'm going to make 2 ads under that ad group. One is going to be a static ad, and this is going to be like just a graphic or some kind of thing that says click here to follow now, and it'll be some cool graphic of the game with the logo and some other stuff.
Yeah.
Then the other one will be like a little video ad, and then that'll take clips from my little crowdfunding video and add some stuff to it, and also like the link will be like click here to follow now, and that kind of thing. So that's what goes on there, and then you set the date and you set the time. And then what your question is how do I get it to the right people?
Right.
So you pick your audiences. And so your audiences is individual topics or hobbies that either A, you have clicked on and literally added to your Facebook or Instagram profile as something that you like, which everybody used to do 10 years ago. Nobody does it anymore. But or you have shown interest through your social media feeds, or you have shown an inclination of clicking on an ad of a similar category or similar industry or whatever, which, that's relatively broad level, top level stuff. Then you can start adding all kinds of other sub audiences. One of the audiences I add is basically like, board games just as a main group, tabletop gaming, which we all know they're the same thing, but online you have to distinguish
different tags. Yeah.
Exactly. So then you've got, I added Warhammer 40K. I added things like, miniature painting, because again, a lot of the people who like Seismic, they're interested in the miniatures. Then I added, things like Euro game. These are all like they sound like keywords like you would use for something like Google or whatever, but they're really not. These are actual notable categories within the meta universe that Facebook and Instagram recognize as collective groups of people. And so you can get really, really, really granular as you go down. So that's what I ended up doing. And a lot of people are not that targeted. They do the shotgun effect and they just kind of hope for the best. Because I don't have a big ad budget, I was extremely laser focused. And so a lot of those categories are what I actually chose. And again, if somebody hasn't gotten any of that in their profile or whatever, or maybe they've never even clicked on an ad in Facebook, maybe they have an ad blocker or something, I am going to absolutely miss some of that audience out there. But for the most part, the good news is every ad that is out there theoretically should be in the eyes of somebody that is my audience. Which, on the other hand, if you go for a wider audience, what happens is now you'll get maybe 2 or 3 times the eyes, but you also get 3 or 4 more sets of eyes that aren't even board gamers and don't care, and they don't even know what the heck they're looking at. So it's one of those you have to figure out, like, where do you want to spend your money, and how much of a budget do you have, and how targeted do you want to get. So I went super focused, So, anybody that with the name PJ and, things like that. So, anyway, yeah, stuff like that. So,
right.
it really can get very granular. You have to be a jack of all trades to go into crowdfunding. You have to have at least an understanding of the back end of social media. You have to have an understanding of, graphic design. You have to have, an understanding of, like, some art and how to contact people, how to work with people. I contacted countless artists, modelers, all that. Everybody's got different personalities. You kind of have to like go, okay, I'm going to contact this guy in Poland about art today. What is my demeanor to, there's going to be obviously a cultural, like, distinguishing difference in how I'm going to communicate with them. And I don't mean language. It's just going to be, sometimes there's a curtness, in Europe that Americans aren't really, we're kind of,
we're not used to it at all.
We're not used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I found a lot of that in Spain.
Oh, Spain, absolutely. I actually used several people in Spain for parts of the game. And again, it was one of those, like, you have to understand that you're working with somebody who may come across what you think, at least by American standards, may even seem rude. They are not at all. They're just more succinct, and they are more focused on the task at hand. And pleasantries are fine, but, they don't necessarily have to rely on that.
Right.
And I think that's why Europeans can get far more done in 4 hours a day than we ever get done in 10 hours a day.
Right.
So
it's like, it's from what I've seen, it's also like West Coast versus East Coast.
Right. Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. You just have to be able to, kind of work with all the different facets of what you're going to be up against. And that could be anything from a negative comment on your campaign. You can get people sending you, email. Yeah, you get Minnesota Killjoys. You get people like that who pop in. He had good intentions, but he didn't understand the repercussions he was creating.
Right.
So, most everybody in my Discord was ready to just, they were like, send me his address. I'm going to his house. Like, no. Look, this guy is clearly, his heart is in the right place. We just got to figure out how to handle it. So I think the biggest skill set beyond being a game designer or being, a graphic designer, a 3D model, or any, a video maker, or even a podcast guest, or any of these things, the biggest skill set you can bring into crowdfunding is understanding yourself, having self-awareness, knowing how you might come across, knowing how to, diffuse a situation so it doesn't escalate. And I think it's the ultimate skill set is the self-control you have to have when faced with all of these challenges, all of these obstacles, including the human element, which is probably the wildest and most unpredictable.
Oh, yeah.
COVID's up there, okay, but still, COVID's compared to an internet troll. So
yeah.
And you have to be able to, I think you have to be able to navigate those waters very gently, and you have to have a reasonable amount of self-control yourself to be able to know how to how to deal with all of these, and they're coming at you just nonstop. And you've seen my updates. I put out these massive updates of information. Am I questioning what I'm releasing, the amount of transparency I'm doing? Yeah, there's a little niggling in the back of my mind going, "Ooh, man, should I?" my fingers on the delete button, and then I'm like, "Nah, they need to know this." And so, there's things like that, and you have to make these constant judgment calls, and you just really hope that you don't, like I said earlier, you hope that you're the marathon runner, you hope everybody's betting on you, and you don't trip right in front of the finish line. If PJ saw this in my Discord, some of those guys will tease me sometimes and say, "Oh man, everything's going so well. We just hope Jason's not secretly a serial killer." Like campaign ends. And then I always I put a little comment and I'm like, "Dear diary, they're on to me." So, stuff like that. So you just got to have fun and have a good time with all of it, I think. So
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys already know all that. You're already internet personalities yourself. You're out there. You're putting yourself out there. You know already what it takes to make this kind of stuff happen.
Yeah, we've met so many people, so incredible people, and it is there's always that worry, what do we do if they're not talkative, or if they're not, how do we keep this going and everything? So.
Or how do we shut Jason up because he's made our podcast 2 hours long? So exactly, it is things like that, And I actually had another podcast. Well, you heard one of them, the Meeple Dungeon. I literally did tell them ahead of time. I said, "Look, I can talk to you all night, and I will if you don't stop me." So I told them ahead of time, please, because it was very late for them. In fact, the guy that I spoke to right before I got with you guys, he said, "Okay, now we're going to do this. Should take about 30 minutes. No problem." And I said, "Okay, perfect." We started at 6 my time. I had my schedule with you guys at 8, and you saw me going, I'm coming, I'll be right there in just a second. I'm so sorry. And we were wrapping up, and it was like 8:10 or something by the time I'm like, okay, I'm here. I literally stopped that call and joined your Zoom immediately.
Okay, yeah.
I have not gotten up out of my chair, and that was 2 hours prior to this.
Oh my goodness.
That was a German YouTuber who goes by his real name is Marcel, but he goes by Lord of the Games, and of course I won't even begin to try to say it in German. But
I think I've heard of him
fan of
before.
Seismic. He actually reached out to me and said, "Will you please do an interview with me for my channel? My channel is in all German, but I know English very well. Can we do an interview in English? Because I want your game to become a hit in Germany, even in spite of it not being in the German language.
That is
Please
cool.
come and do an interview because I want to give Seismic as much exposure as possible." And I'm like, "Oh my God, yes! I'll fly out tonight if you want me to fly over there for that." So the guy was, oh my gosh, the guy was super, super cool. I mean, gave me all kinds of neat information about Germany and about distribution in Germany. He was like, "Come to Essenspiel. You've got to come over here. I'd love to meet you. Bring some copies, sign them, at the convention." And I'm just like, dude, it's like my dream to go to Essenspiel
Love
and
to go to
go
Essen.
to Germany. I mean, just super, super cool guy. And of course, like I said, it started off at 6 and it was supposed to be 30 minutes. And then of course it bled into our time. So that was, and of course you guys were like, "Okay, Jason, it's going to be like half an hour. We're going to end it at half an hour."
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we're also enablers because we can talk a lot too.
And we've talked with you twice already, so we
So we already know what's going to happen. So
You were ready. Yes. At least you were prepared this
here's the
time.
one question I have for you. Did you ask him, why do Germans love David Hasselhoff so much?
I did not.
Okay,
but,
so-
it is a bizarre obsession, isn't it?
So, oh God, how long ago was it now?
You and I hang out on the internet way too much.
We do. Well, see, I had my ex-wife and I went to a wedding back in 2012. Yeah, because it was 1 year after we got married. We
Don't
went.
look at me.
Sorry, I'm using you. I was like, wait, PJ, no.
What was PJ's hair like then?
Oh, well, yeah, he was a little shaggy. No, so it was 2012 because it was right after the Hurricane Sandy.
Okay.
So we went to Brazil, and it was one of our foreign exchange friends. We're getting married. She was from Brazil. He was from France. And it was a bunch of the international students that they had been with all came over, and we were all in Brazil. So I'm meeting these new people. Some of them I know I've known for quite a few years. And one of them his name was Andy. He was German. And Andy was like 6'6", 6'7". I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm short. I'm 5'8". And we're talking, and their other friend was a Brit. So I just said, my God, this is like a bad joke come to life. An American, a German, and a Brit walk into a bar.
Right.
And I mean, the entire weekend we were there, the three of us just kept cracking jokes and talking. And I looked at Andy and said, "Hey, look, I don't mean to be rude. I'm really curious." He goes, "Okay, what?" So, what the fuck do you guys have with David Hasselhoff? Why are you so obsessed? And he's like, "What do you mean? Like, you like David Hasselhoff?" "Yes, I love David Hasselhoff. Who doesn't love David Hasselhoff?" I'm like, "Why? Tell me." And he's like, "Oh, well, see, growing up and everything, the Berlin Wall." I'm like, "I know exactly where this is going now." He's like, yeah. He said during the Berlin Wall, that was some of the only music that they could get across the wall.
Oh wow!
And that was the
and that was like a cultural phenomenon.
That was a cultural
because it was one of the only
phenomenon. And he, when the wall came down, Hasselhoff was there singing. Like, they made a big show of it, and he was there. He held a concert, and he was like, it was amazing because like you're hearing like Hasselhoff sing about like freedom and like America and all democracy and all this stuff, and he's like, and that's just what you held on to. And when the wall came down, he said,
heard this story.
He said when
This
the wall
is
came
crazy.
down, like everything just started like, we're free. We can be a whole nation again, and like
So-
that music.
And the
gave
Hoff
hope.
is here.
And the Hoff is here. And I was like, holy
my
shit, this makes
God.
so much fucking sense now. No wonder you guys are fanatics. Like,
So David Hasselhoff was like their embodiment of freedom.
Yes,
at
it's
that
like-
moment in time.
you're like, wow, you mean the guy that was famous for saying, "Okay, Kit, let's go." Got it, buddy. Like, I was so jealous of Hasselhoff growing up because of Kit.
I know.
Because of that show, the first car I could buy on my own was an '87 Firebird.
Fantastic.
And
I love
it was jet black.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Wow.
But yeah, and I was like,
never heard that story.
Oh, I had to ask him, like, why? And he was like, yeah, this is why. I'm like, yeah, no, that totally tracks. Totally tracks.
I have never heard that. That makes a whole lot more sense now. The world finally is like all clear again.
Yeah, now I just hope they didn't hear everything else where they're like, oh yeah, David Hasselhoff, he likes to eat hamburgers and get drunk in front of his daughters? Why did I just sound Mexican there? I hear David Hasselhoff, he's really good and everything, but man, these tacos are a lot better.
Nice.
It's getting late, that's why.
Yes.
That is true.
You're slipping.
I always bring out the delirium in you guys.
I've-
for so long.
I'm not slipping. I'm gone. Like, the current has taken me under, PJ.
Took you under a long time ago.
I'm probably just a figment of your imagination right now.
So he's our imaginary friend.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Like, Drop Dead Fred, you remember that one?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do.
Oh god.
Why
Why did I say anything?
I know. Why did you?
Why? Why? God, why?
My God, just between the two of us, we could probably talk all night about stupid random movies.
Oh my god, yeah. I know some random movies. I can go on forever.
When we do the movie podcast, we're gonna have him on.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We're all thinking it. Yeah.
It's just,
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah. Come
Yeah.
on, yeah.
Well, everyone.
I gotta be.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. It's getting late. But
You're
we
the trimmest
definitely,
podcast in half.
we definitely want you back on. Oh, we're keeping all this. Right?
oh yeah,
Anyone who wants to hear about movies, like you just had a whole hour
yeah.
of it. I think
pretty much.
Right? Yeah. So
pretty damn close to it.
long enough
Buy-
that I
buy
think my
one
mixer ran
podcast,
out of
get one
memory
free.
there. It stopped recording.
That's right.
It did.
So
We won't even charge you for the second free episode about movies.
Oh,
That's
it's still
right.
Oh, no,
recording.
it's still recording.
You know, I will say this though. This is probably the cleanest episode that I've ever done.
Yeah.
Fantastic. This was a soft R.
It was.
Maybe
We had-
even like a hard PG-13.
I was saying,
No,
just trying to
we
be
had,
PG-13.
like what, 1 R, 2 Rs?
No, I dropped
Or
quite a
F-bombs,
few
I mean?
F-bombs. I mean,
Yep,
you can
yep.
only get away with one. I dropped at least 5.
Only one F. Yep, you get one
Yeah.
F at a PG-13.
One F.
That's right.
That's why I was
That's
saying
right.
this is a soft R.
You can just bleep him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Just leave them.
after this.
My duck quack that I have
Yeah.
ready to go.
exactly.
I mean, if you want, I can just do that myself. I'm like, that son of a... Sorry.
Yeah, whenever he name drops someone, and like we don't have like express permission, or it'd be like embarrassing for that person. I have a duck quack sound effect that I put in there.
Nice. That is awesome.
One of these episodes, I'm just have to just start name dropping everything. So as yours, yeah. So anyway, I was hanging out, and this son of a bitch, he was like, and he was like, and then he called out.
I love the there's a great scene in Family Guy when Peter brings Stewie with him to the bar, and Peter goes, "Quagmire, tell us what happened last night." Oh, hang on, put your hands over the ears or whatever. And Stewie's sitting there, and all you see is Quagmire doing all these stupid hand motions.
Yes.
And then every once in a while, like Stewie gets a little like, and then. I love that.
It occasionally, that show occasionally has one or two good things, but anymore you're just
the first 3 seasons are still the best before it
Oh,
got
man,
canceled.
yeah.
Absolutely.
They're great. Yeah. The later stuff is not as good, but yeah.
Did I show you that? Was it voice actors thing that Robert Paulson does?
Yeah.
And it was
His name was Robert Paulson.
So do you know who Rob Paulson is? He's voice actor.
I actually only know the name from Fight Club.
Fight
I
Club.
don't
Okay,
know
so Rob Paulson, he's since like the late '80s all the way up to now, he's been like Pinky from Pinky and the Brain.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's the
He's
only one that
very
comes to mind,
prolific.
but
The
he's
guy
done-
that does he does like a ton of stuff in Animaniacs.
Yeah.
He does a bunch-
Yeah, he did a
was,
lot
like,
of voices
all
in
through
Animaniacs.
80s
He was Dr.
cartoons.
Scratch and Sniff. He was Yakko.
Yeah,
he does this podcast where he gets his other voice acting friends to talk about the industry, and he will get a hold of scripts, and they will do the scripts. You son of a
in the
bitch.
voices.
And the voices, and the one that I loved was when he had Kevin Conroy on before Kevin Conroy passed,
Oh yeah.
and they did the ending scene of The Dark Knight.
Oh god. I've heard
They
this.
Will Hunt Me
I've heard
because
this. Yes.
and he did one just recently. I hate you, by the way. Green on.
Oh
And they-
god.
It was the last scene between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin
Yep.
from
God.
Revenge of the Sith, and of course Seth Green is doing his Chris. Griffin, and Chris Griffin was his impression of Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh god.
So of course Rob Paulson is doing, I forget what voice he was doing.
Pinky.
Was it Pinky?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
like, don't do it, Anakin! You turned her against me!
I do remember that. I've seen that. It was amazing. Those guys are great.
Oh, I
do
love
remember-
listening to his stuff.
Yeah. When you said Robert Paulson, the first name was like,
His name was Robert Paulson. That was such a fun film.
Nice.
The thing that I love the most about it is everybody that watched it completely missed the point of the movie.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yep.
It reminds me exactly of what happened with Beastie Boys and Fight for Your Right to Party, because the whole thing was like,
Yes, it was supposed to be making
anti-boo,
fun of that.
Yes, they're making fun of it, and then they became the very thing that they hated. It was like the
Yeah.
same freaking thing happened with Fight Club. All these people are like, "Oh yeah, Fight Club." Yeah, it's like, oh my
Fight
god.
Club's all about, men getting back their masculinity and taking their balls back. Like,
yeah.
no, that's not the point.
We don't talk about Fight Club.
Oh, that's right. We're not supposed to talk
Oh,
about
that's true. Yeah, that is true. Indeed.
it. I mean, imagine if they really stuck to the rules of the Fight Club.
Oh yeah.
Rule 1 of Fight Club: we don't talk about Fight Club.
Nope,
Why are
that's
we
it.
here?
Like, oh, all right, well, let's do a fight and everybody go home. Cool, next week
Yep.
we'll do the same thing. Like, credits.
Indeed.
But what happened to the guys? What happened to... I don't know, they just continued to do it until they got bored. Like, what more story do you want?
Gotta
Right.
read Fight Club 2 one of these days.
It
No,
would be interesting.
no, don't. That's not good. That's upsetting.
Nice.
I mean, is it any worse than Starship Troopers 2?
Oh well.
Probably.
What about
It's
Spaceballs
probably
2
one of
with
those
Josh
that-
Gad that got announced yesterday?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, we were just talking about
that earlier.
this.
Ugh,
Uh,
it's not gonna bode well.
I was okay when he was the voice... What was his name? What was that stupid snowman?
Olaf.
Olaf. I didn't
Olaf.
mind that. And then
He was fine as Olaf. I was
Yeah.
perfectly fine with him.
And then they're like, "Oh yeah, we're doing the remake of what the hell is that called? Beauty and the Beast." And I was like, "Well, I'm pissed off because I wanted to be Gaston, sons of bitches." And then I watched that movie and I was like, "Well, that was needless." And people were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's so bad because LeFou's gay." Like, he's French. What the fuck do you expect? Like
The auto
There goes our
tuning.
PG-13.
The
Yep,
auto
there it
tuning
went.
in that movie though was just awful.
horrible.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man.
But I just thought
right
it was-
after he did Olaf, put him in the rocket, send him into space. That was it. We were good. We were done with
Yeah.
Josh Gad at that point. I was okay with him after that.
didn't need him anymore. He did
Though
his job.
that show, what was it? Where he was in space.
Oh god.
What was it? And
What?
Hugh, the guy that played
Oh.
Dr. House.
Laurie.
Avenue
Hugh
5.
Laurie. Avenue 5.
Avenue 5.
That
yes.
show was incredible.
Yes. I
That
dug
was
it.
did
It
not
was
know
incredible.
this show.
Like people
It was
start
like
dying.
House and Olaf in space.
Yeah,
Oh, dear
like people
God.
start dying in the ship, and they like send them out this like escape hatch. But then they start orbiting the ship, their bodies.
It was amazing.
It's
That-
such a
that-
great dark comedy.
Now is this
Such a great show.
Hugh Laurie as House
No.
or Hugh Laurie as just being a
Oh,
normal
no.
British guy?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was Hugh Laurie. He was not House.
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Good. Because
He was a cruise director, basically, is what it boiled
Okay.
down.
Yeah, he was an actor. But then after the captain dies, he's like acting as the captain.
Yes.
oh god. Because
Yeah.
one of my favorite British comedies to watch still is A Bit of Fry and Laurie.
Yes.
Oh god.
And that was
Stephen
the
Fry and Hugh Laurie.
yeah late 80s early 90s Stephen Fry, Hugh Laurie. It was a sketch comedy show, and one of my favorite bits. Hugh Laurie is a fantastic musician,
Oh yeah.
and
yeah.
he does this one character where he's an American musician, and he comes up and he plays the piano very well, and he's just singing all the words for the song is just him variations of America. So finally, Stephen Fry comes over and punches him in the face. Like,
Nice.
but if you can find that anywhere, I'd say give that a watch. That show is funny as hell.
I don't know that one. I know a lot of British stuff, but yeah, I
Right.
don't know that one. I'll have to look for it.
And my first introduction to him was the Blackadder.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Still
That's
incredible.
We just did another 30 minutes on.
I know everything.
I tried
else.
to sign us off, and this
my
is staying
God.
in too. By the way, it's all staying in.
Oh my god.
I don't care. I'm not ashamed.
Like our listeners always say, the best part is just hanging out with us at the table. So like, hey,
I mean, that's true. I
let's
guess,
keep,
right?
let's keep it. So
Nice.
Why not?
well, speaking of signing off, I guess, do you want to say one last thing about Seismic and anything like that? Any?
Sure, yeah. I mean, obviously, as I said earlier, if anybody's still listening and
I
awake,
know, right? You're still with us.
the campaign is live and active, still on GameFound. I'm sure PJ will put the link somewhere nearby, wherever this is.
Absolutely, it'll be in the
And,
description.
Okay.
So yeah, and clearly you can go check it out. Seismic is not for everybody, but at the same time, even if you decide the game's not for you, I am so happy if you just take the time, come by, check it out, maybe even leave a comment, tell me why Seismic's not for you if it isn't. If it is for you, come by and join the community. Check out the comment section. There's like over 2,000 comments in there, which is like 3 or 4 times the amount of comments of most campaigns this size. It's a very welcoming community, amazing people. Everybody is on the hype train, and it's such a fun group of people. I cannot be more thankful to be a part of it. So Seismic is ending on January. Holy cow! I can't make it that long. June 28th, this Friday, and it will be this Friday regardless of whether this goes live any day now, because it's always going to be this Friday. But it'll be this Friday, June 28th at 10 p.m. And that'll be the last minute that you can chime in and get Seismic for the absolute best value that I can offer it for, and that is to we have funded. For those of you who may not know the game or know the campaign yet, we have already funded. We are in the midst of unlocking stretch goals, and we are hoping to really send off the campaign with a huge bang. So I am even thinking, and here's an old one for you, Dan. This is a call out. I'm actually considering for the last 24 hours of the campaign doing a full-on Jerry Lewis level telethon. I'm going to be live on a YouTube video 100% of the time, all the way from the time I get up that day, from 10 p.m. the night before till 10 p.m. of the night. I'm really seriously considering it.
I'll stop by for sure if you do that.
You need to have a stick microphone to do this. Hey there, everybody! Thank you for joining us for our 24-hour telethon here. And I just have to say, when you were saying Seismic is not for everybody, you've been watching way too many drug commercials.
Ask your doctor if Seismic is
exactly.
If you're experiencing fracture events, please.
I have a suggestion though. If you do your telethon, you need a goal to meet, and if you meet that goal, you got to get your tattoo.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Indeed. It is still there. I've unpublished it only because I thought we would never make it. But you know what? I'm probably going to republish it. We'll never get 2,000 backers. Of course, Seismic's been anything but predictable or normal. So God knows what happened between now and the end. But I am gonna throw it back out there just for fun because me and my wife did make a bet. And that includes the late pledge manager. And if I get to a point to where we get 2,000 copies, all the way through to say Christmas time or whatever, because that'd probably be about the time that I end the late pledge manager. But if we get 2,000 copies, I'm going to honor the bet. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, so Seismic again live all the way until the end of this week. I may or may not be wearing a tuxedo with a stick microphone, walking around in front of phones behind me, ringing. And,
with your wife the only one answering them.
River back there.
We have operators standing by.
That's
Sweetie,
right.
did you get that? Are you standing by?
They're all going to be rotary phones. They're all going to be rotary phones with the old style, and I'm going to pick them up. And,
Hello, please hold. Hello, please hold. Hello, please hold.
Your pledge is very important to us. So what I was going to do, believe it or not, I'm still really kind of fooling around with this. Is I was going to actually get on live on YouTube, have my Seismic game YouTube channel, start a live feed, post it to the campaign page live as going on the whole time. And then I was going to start having guests, just random people who are like either backers, pledgers, people who are interested, people who don't know about it. And they jump into comments and I will just say, come aboard. And I'll let them jump into like a Discord chat or something that can be live streamed at the same time. And I'll
Next
just say,
Friday we need to do our podcast, so we'll get in there.
Yeah.
So I'm seriously considering it just to see what would happen. I mean,
Hold on, I gotta see
what
when
an
do I work
epic
next
send off for the campaign. So yeah, so that would be what I'm hoping for. I don't know if I'll get to that, but it would certainly be an epic ending.
That would be great. That would be so cool.
I am off all day.
Oh
I'm
my
so in
gosh.
for this.
I'm
So
off too.
anyway,
No, you're not.
I'm saying next Friday.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry,
I know it's hard to believe with you guys having dealt with me now that I actually could speak for 24 straight hours. I know it's very hard
Do
to
you have it
believe.
in you?
But
I'm not so sure. I don't think they could do it either.
But do you have the Constitution?
yes, exactly.
Just think of how many movie quotes you could get out.
Oh my
in
God.
that time frame.
Just forever.
We
I
might
could-
just put on a movie for us to enjoy
we
together.
we just say the movie along with it, right?
the campaign would end. It would be Saturday morning, and I'm still live talking about things. I wouldn't even realize the campaign ended.
I bet your pinko commie mother.
Glad you got my
Fantastic.
reference there.
Oh my god, amazing.
I'm sorry.
So
PJ and I love
anyway,
that movie.
yes. So as far as Seismic is concerned, that's my send off. I really, and in all seriousness, I have a wonderful time with you guys. But in all seriousness, I really, really do sincerely appreciate all of you. This is I have a blast. I was looking forward tonight to talk to you guys about all this.
So was
I
I.
had such a good time.
Yeah,
And,
we'll have to have you on again. Definitely for the movie pod when we start.
Absolutely.
Oh
that
my
up.
gosh, yes. I'll be
Yeah.
on for that. I'll be
Awesome.
100% on board.
Uh,
So, but I really do sincerely appreciate you guys. Really, I mean, your time is valuable, and I mean, obviously, I've taken way more of it than I should. But your time is valuable. Your effort, your ability to have me on again for the third time. I just seriously, I cannot thank you enough. I really,
Yeah.
really sincerely appreciate it. So.
I just want to end by saying, for those watching on video, I probably will cut out a lot of the movie stuff for the video one to keep it a little shorter and sweeter. But the podcast one, it's all going to be in there. So if you want more of our conversation, listen to the pod version. It's going to be
Absolutely.
lengthy. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I'm just so happy that I'm not going to have to edit much either. I'm just probably going to put it out as it is. It's
Oh no!
we had a
All right.
Wow!
I'm
man.
excited. I'm excited.
Now,
It's
look,
going to take.
for our listeners who love this incessant babbling because it feels like they're in the room, boy, you guys have a treat.
I'm so sorry.
That is awesome.
But Jason, thank you for
Thank
coming
you
on.
very much.
Yeah,
We
we
love talking with
can't
you.
wait for Seismic. We're so happy it funded, and we can't wait to see what you do in the future, and look forward to having you on our other pod.
Ah, fantastic! Yeah, I can't wait. Just you say the word. Let me know when.
Oh, absolutely. All right, take care. Have a great night.
All right, take care, guys. See you later.
Bye.
See ya.
I haven't found out how to stop recording. Hey, there's a button that says stop.
Recording stopped.
There it is.